Chapter 2398. He watched as Longao and Gongsun he left. Finally, Bai Jing still didn't make a move, because he was very wary of Gongsun he. In terms of strength, he couldn't completely suppress Gongsun he. In terms of secret realms, his first secret realm couldn't suppress Gongsun he's third secret realm. If he made a move now, not only would he not be able to deal with the two, it might even backfire. It was very depressing. As a dignified half-step starry sky ruler, he had now fallen into the hands of a puny Longao. It was truly a disgrace. What should he do? How should he deal with Longao and Gongsun he? This was a very depressing matter, because one wrong step would lead to many wrong steps. Old ancestor, what should we do now? The four of them actually hated Bai Jing, because if Longao hadn't made such excessive demands, then the four of them would have died long ago. They didn't dare to say anything. Bai Jing's strength was there for all to see. No matter how much anger the four of them had in their hearts, they only dared to hide it in their hearts and did not dare to express it. Let's go back first. After leaving the number 1 star empire, Longao and Gongsun he didn't have much confidence. Because no matter what, Bai Jing and the number 1 star empire's strength was there. If they wanted to kill Bai Jing and destroy the number 1 star empire, it wasn't something that could be done with just words. Brother Long, in your opinion, when should we make a move? Gongsun he seemed to be impatient, because he knew very well that as long as they didn't deal with the number 1 star empire, Longao wouldn't wholeheartedly help him find the primal chaos tablet. How could Longao not know what Gongsun he meant? However, Longao liked this kind of person. At least Gongsun he would make his goal public, unlike Bai Jing, who acted in secret. Moreover, Longao could clearly sense that Gongsun he didn't have any killing intent towards him. In the end, Gongsun he just wanted to devour the primal chaos tablet. 3 days later, Gongsun he and Longao moved separately. After returning to the Soaring Dragon Empire, Longao took out about half of the millions of Cosmic Corpse slaves from Longing. The rest of the Cosmic Corpse slaves were all left behind. Although the location of the Soaring Dragon Empire was very well hidden, it was better to be safe than sorry. What if the Empire was discovered by others? What should he do then? If the Empire had an army of millions of corpse slaves, at the very least, they would be able to take care of each other. In the main hall, 7th brother, have you really decided? You should know that there's no turning back. If we fail this time, we'll be in a passive position in the future. Longao knew exactly what his elder brother meant. Big brother, we have the help of the 3rd Starry Sky Empire this time. We can definitely gain the upper hand. Even if we can't destroy the 1st Starry Sky Empire, I can guarantee that after this, it will be of great help to us. Since things were already like this, Longing knew that this battle was unavoidable. However, the Empire did not suffer any losses in this battle. Even if the corpse slave army of several million was completely annihilated, it wouldn't matter much. This was also the reason why Longao dared to make such a move. 7th brother, do you need any other help? Shaking his head, Longao smiled and said, the reason why Gongsun he is willing to help us to deal with the 1st Starry Sky Empire is because he hopes that I can help him devour the primal chaos tablet. Otherwise, not only will Gongsun he not help me, but he will also join forces with Bai Jing to deal with me. This point, Longao was 100% sure. There were no eternal friends in this world, and similarly, there were no eternal enemies. He and Gongsun he might be friends now, but no one could guarantee that he and Gongsun he would always be friends in the future. Even if they became enemies, it was not impossible. On the contrary, he and Bai Jing were enemies now, but no one could guarantee that they would always be enemies. Who knows, they might become friends in the future. This kind of thing, no one could say for sure. 7th brother, have you ever thought that if the 3rd Starry Sky Empire helps us to deal with the 1st Starry Sky Empire, if you can't help Gongsun he get the primal chaos tablet, will Gongsun he, at this point, Long Ying didn't continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. The 12 primal chaos tablets of the primal chaos plane were all in his pocket. There was no way he could find another one to give to Gong's son He. This was indeed a troublesome matter. If he didn't handle it well, he and Gong's son He would become enemies in the future. This was something that was inevitable. Seventh brother, why don't we give up on joining forces with Gong's son He, so as to avoid being caught in the future? What do you say? Longao smiled and said, There's no need to do this. I only promised Gong's son He that I would help him find the primal chaos tablet. I didn't promise him that I would definitely be able to find the primal chaos tablet. Although that's the case, I'm afraid that Gong's son He won't tell you this when the time comes. Longao didn't continue to dwell on this matter. Instead, he said, Big brother, we can't just sit here and wait for death. If this continues, it won't work. Long Ying also knew that his seventh brother didn't want to dwell on this matter. Since that was the case, he didn't continue either. I know. I've already begun to secretly develop my forces. In 100 years, I can guarantee that our empire's strength won't be any weaker than the 9 starry sky empires. Longao was very clear about his brother's strength. 100 years might sound like a long time, but for the development of the empire and the cultivation of the starry sky cultivators, it was only a matter of minutes. Some starry sky cultivators might go into seclusion for 100 years or even 1,000 years at a time. Longao didn't immediately leave the plane. This was because no one knew how long it would take to join forces with the Third Starry Sky Empire to deal with the First Starry Sky Empire. In other words, if he left this time, who knew when he would be able to return? Longao spent some time with his family, especially his son. About 3 days later, Longao led an army of millions of corpses, while Gong's son, he led an army of tens of millions. The two armies formed an alliance and began to march towards the First Starry Sky Empire. The news of the alliance between Longao and the Third Starry Sky Empire had spread throughout the vast starry sky. Anyone who heard the news was shocked. They didn't know why Longao and the Third Starry Sky Empire would suddenly form an alliance. If it wasn't for the fact that it had already happened, most people wouldn't have believed it. It was simply too ridiculous. With an alliance, was the Third Starry Sky Empire not afraid of the First Starry Sky Empire? The news of the Third Starry Sky Empire's ancestor, Gong's son He, also spread throughout the vast starry sky. Chapter 2399. Was it worth it for Gong's son He to become Bai Jing's enemy for Longao? In the eyes of others, this was definitely not worth it. Even if Longao and the Third Starry Sky Empire joined forces, it was still unknown whether they could match up to the First Starry Sky Empire. Everyone was looking at him. There were many people watching the show. Millions of Starry Sky Corps slaves and tens of millions of Starry Sky cultivators started to attack. A great battle was about to break out. The second, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth cosmic empires didn't seem to have any intention of interfering. They would watch the fight from the other side of the river and be prepared to reap the benefits from it. The 7 Starry Sky Empires certainly hoped that both sides would suffer. What was suspicious was, the ancestors of the other 7 Starry Sky Empires did not appear. Therefore, neither Bai Jing nor Gong's son He had provoked the other Starry Sky Empires. Outside the first plane, Gong's son He, Gong's son Ao, and Longao were in charge. Of course, the three of them knew that even if they joined forces, they might not be a match for the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, but they still wanted to try. Ancestor, Bai Jing and the others have already sealed the plane. It's almost impossible for us to break the seal and enter. The three of them hadn't expected this at all. In their opinion, Bai Jing would definitely lead the number 1 Starry Sky Empire to fight back. But what was the result? Bai Jing had led the first Starry Sky Empire into hiding like a turtle. Not only did they not dare to fight, but they had sealed their own plane. As soon as the news came out, the entire vast starry sky was shaken. Could it be that Bai Jing and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire were afraid? That shouldn't be possible. Bai Jing's strength didn't need to be mentioned. She was known as the strongest under the Astral Dominator, and her strength wasn't just for show. Not to mention others, even Gongsun he was no match for Bai Jing. In that case, Bai Jing and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire should not avoid the battle, but should fight back. He could not figure it out. No one could figure it out. He wondered what Bai Jing and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire were thinking. Gongsun he nodded in agreement and said helplessly, according to my understanding of White Crystal shouldn't have chosen to seal the realm and avoid the battle. Ancestor, what should we do now? White Crystal and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire avoided the battle. Even if they wanted to fight back, Gongsun he didn't know what to do. He looked at Longao and asked, Brother Long, what do you think? There was no enmity between the 3rd Starry Sky Empire and the 1st Starry Sky Empire. Even if Bai Jing and Gongsun he intended to annex each other's empire, the two would not completely fall out unless absolutely necessary. But for the Chaos Steel, Gongsun he was willing to go. Not only that, but the Starry Skies, the Starry Sky Empire to the Starry Sky Empire, SGSKY he Skies Battles Empire, Bai Jing clearly doesn't want to fight us head-on. Since that's the case, we're going to stay here. I want to see just how long Bai Jing will wait. Longao's meaning was simple. If White Crystal didn't show up, it would be to his advantage. His elder brother had said that in 100 years, the empire would develop rapidly. By then, it would be on par with the 9 Starry Sky Empires. But Bai Jing was leading the number 1 Starry Sky Empire. Who knew if they would be able to hold out for 100 years? They just had to be prepared. How could Gongsun he not know Longao's meaning? Longao could wait, but Gongsun he couldn't. The 12 primal chaos stone tablets were scattered everywhere. No one knew when the 12 rulers of the starry sky would find the 12 primal chaos stone tablet. If they were unlucky and the 12 rulers of the starry sky really did find the 12 primal chaos stone tablets, then things would become troublesome. Gongsun he had already decided that he had to find the chaos steels before the starry sky rulers did. His request was simple. He only needed 1 chaos steel. As for the other chaos steels, no matter who found them, it had nothing to do with him. Gongsun he didn't say it directly, because he knew that Longao must know about this. Okay, I'll listen to you. In order to get the chaos steels, Gongsun he could give up anything. He didn't need to listen to Longao. Just like that, Longao's millions of corpse slaves and the 3rd Starry Sky Empire were all guarding the first plane. Both sides were in a deadlock. After the news spread out, everyone was shocked. No one had thought that things would develop like this. Next, would the number 1 Starry Sky Empire counterattack or continue to be a coward? For countless years, the 9 Starry Sky Empires had been the overlords of the universe. No one dared to go against them. Longao was the first in history. The number 1 Starry Sky Empire, in a grand hall. Bai Jing sat quietly. She was not angry at all. On the contrary, the 3 Space Eagles and Bai Hua's group were furious. Being blocked by someone like this would make them a laughingstock in the vast starry sky. They would lose all face. Bai Hua couldn't help but say, Ancestor, I don't understand why we have to endure. Even if Longao and the 3rd Starry Sky Empire join forces, they are still no match for us. Why do we have to do this? We have lost all face. Even if we don't fight, we have lost. Bai Jing didn't speak. She just listened quietly. Bai Hua was still unwilling. As the emperor of the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, no matter what he did, Bai Hua had to consider the interests of the empire first. So he continued, Ancestor, we can't just sit and wait. Longao and the 3rd Starry Sky Empire have gone too far. I can't stand it. The 3 Starry Sky Eagles looked at each other. They could see a trace of helplessness in each other's eyes. Now, in the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, the one in charge wasn't them, but their master. As long as their master didn't say anything, no matter who it was, whether it was the three of them or His Majesty, no one dared to make a move. Master, I think His Majesty is right. In this situation, we can't just sit and wait. We have to fight back. Otherwise, everyone and Longao will think that we are easy to bully. We will become very passive in the future. For our empire, this is a very bad thing. Chapter 2400. Bai Jing nodded. How could Bai Jing not know what the four of them meant? He was very depressed. He never thought that things would develop to this point. Longao and Gong's son, he want to force us out. If we accept the challenge, we will fall into their trap. Bai Jing did not care about anything else. The only thing he cared about was the Primal Chaos Tablet. As long as he could get the Primal Chaos Tablet, he could give up anything, even if it meant giving up the number 1 Starry Sky Empire. The 3 Starry Sky Eagles and Bai Hua were helpless. Without their master's orders, no one dared to accept the challenge. What should they do? The situation was very dangerous. If this continued, the empire would lose all face. The hall fell into silence again. The 5 of them, no one said anything. Time passed bit by bit, no one knew how long had passed. From now on, without my orders, no one can accept the challenge. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. Bai Jing was the person with the most authority in the number 1 Starry Sky Empire. No one dared to disobey her orders. The vast starry sky was changing rapidly. With the sudden change of the number 3 Starry Sky Empire, things became very complicated. The number 1 Starry Sky Empire still refused to accept the challenge. More and more people guessed that the number 1 Starry Sky Empire was afraid of the number 3 Starry Sky Empire. Was that really the case? Longao had millions of Starry Sky Corps slaves, guarding outside the first plane. Other than Longao and Longing, no one could control any of the Starry Sky Corps slaves. As for the number 3 Starry Sky Empire's army of millions of Starry Sky cultivators, they were guarding other places. No matter who it was, no one was allowed to leave the first plane. Anyone from the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, they would kill one on sight. Anyone from the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, they would kill without mercy. Both sides were in a stalemate. Continue to stay here? Longao was very depressed, because Bai Jing and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire would not come out for the time being. If that was the case, it would be a pain in the ass for him to stay here. Brother Gong's son, I still have something to do. The millions of Starry Sky Corps slaves will all stay here. Can you help look after them? No problem. At this time, whatever Longao said was the law. Longao didn't continue to stay here. He turned around and quickly left. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Looking at the gradually disappearing figure, Gong's son Ao said gloomily, Ancestor, Longao is doing this to kill with a borrowed knife. Are we willing to be used like this? As the Emperor of the Third Universal Empire, and a pinnacle universe undying, Gong's son Ao had never placed Longao in his eyes. Gong's son Ao simply could not understand why the old ancestor valued Longao so much. He could not figure it out. He simply couldn't figure it out. What was going on? Gong's son he smiled and said, Longao is a good person. As long as I can obtain the tablet, any price is worth it. Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. So it was for the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Of course Gong's son Ao knew what it meant for the old ancestor to devour the tablet. Without a doubt, as long as the old ancestor devoured the tablet, he would become a universe ruler with a 100% certainty. At that time, whether it was Bai Jing or the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, they would be dealt with in minute. However, Gong's son Ao still couldn't figure out what was going on. He didn't know why the old ancestor was so certain that Longao would help him obtain the tablet. If he could obtain it, Why didn't Long Ao devour the tablet himself? As if he could guess what Gongsun Ao was thinking, Gongsun he smiled and said, of the 12 primal chaos tablets of the primal chaos plane, aside from Long Ao who obtained them twice, no one else, including the 12 universe rulers, has been able to obtain them. Gongsun Ao seemed to have guessed something. Although he didn't quite believe it, he didn't say anything. Within a secret room, Long Ying already knew that the First Starry Sky Empire had closed their doors and refused to fight. Seventh brother, I already know everything about the First Starry Sky Empire. According to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, Bai Jing just doesn't want both sides to suffer. All he wants is the tablet. There's no need for him to go down with us, especially now that we have the help of the Third Starry Sky Empire. Long Ao had already guessed Bai Jing's intentions. He thought for a moment. Big brother, Bai Jing is very sinister. He doesn't want to fight us head-on, but he hasn't locked onto our empire's position. I'm almost certain that if he does, he'll use it to blackmail us. Regarding Bai Jing's meaning, Long Ao knew it clearly. The current empire was hidden very well. If Bai Jing and the First Starry Sky Empire wanted to find it, it would be impossible. Seventh brother, this is what I'm most worried about. If Bai Jing locates us, we'll be in a lot of trouble. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Bai Jing was a half-step Starry Sky Dominator. He was known as the strongest under the Starry Sky Dominator. With such strength, unless someone in the Empire could refine the tablet and become a Starry Sky Dominator, no one would be Bai Jing's match. Once Bai Jing locates the Empire's position, it would be as seventh brother had guessed. Bai Jing would definitely use the Empire as blackmail to blackmail seventh brother into obtaining the tablet. The 12 tablets were all devoured by their own people. They couldn't hand them over. If it was something else, they might be able to give it away. Only the tablet. Long Ao knew what they meant. They couldn't hand over the tablets even if they died. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. If the Empire's position was locked onto by Bai Jing, the consequences would be unimaginable. What should they do? No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of a good idea. Long Ying's face grew darker and darker. Because if they didn't get rid of Bai Jing, it would be a big problem for the Empire. Long Ao was very clear about his brother's worries. He said helplessly, Big brother, with our current strength, we can't kill Bai Jing. Long Ying sighed deeply and said helplessly, we can only hope that Bai Jing won't be able to lock onto our empire's position. Otherwise, it won't be good for us. Long Ao was very confident about this because Bai Jing wasn't a divine mathematician. He couldn't calculate the empire's exact position. Chapter 2401. The Sky Martial Realm. Bai Jing arrived outside the Sky Martial Realm, but he couldn't enter. Although his cultivation base had reached the half-step Starry Sky Dominator level, he was still not a true Starry Sky Dominator. His strength was nothing in front of a Starry Sky Dominator. As long as the 12 Starry Sky Dominators were willing to help, they could easily defeat a half-step Starry Sky Dominator. That was the case. Bai Jing just stood outside the realm respectfully, not daring to take a step inside. Come in. Hearing Master Godly Mathematician's words, Bai Jing took a step forward and disappeared from the realm. Outer Sea, Crystal Palace. Greetings, Master Godly Mathematician. Bai Jing bowed respectfully. Now, Bai Jing was as respectful as he could be. Master Godly Mathematician nodded and asked, Why are you looking for me? Master Godly Mathematician, I came here to ask you for a favor. Speak. Bai Jing didn't know about the relationship between Long Ao and Master Godly Mathematician. After all, Bai Jing wasn't qualified. If he knew, he would never come here even if he was beaten to death. He was asking for trouble. Master, I believe you already know about the grudge between me and Long Ao. Now the Soaring Dragon Empire's location is uncertain, and Long Ao has a Starry Sky Divine artifact. Even I can't locate Long Ao. Master Godly Mathematician was not a fool. He immediately understood Bai Jing's meaning. Unable to lock onto Longao's position, Bai Jing's intention was very simple. She wanted to control the Soaring Dragon Empire, which was Longao's family, and use this to threaten Longao. The Soaring Dragon Empire was Longao's weakness. As long as she could control the Soaring Dragon Empire, Longao could go east and Longao could go west. Master Godly Mathematician laughed. Bai Jing, do you think it's appropriate to involve me in the grudge between you and Longao? Of course it wasn't appropriate. As a half-step Starry Sky Dominator, he would be a laughingstock if he went against Longao. Especially now, he couldn't even locate Longao, let alone locate Longao. It was simply too embarrassing. There was no other way. Even if there was a small way, Bai Jing wouldn't have come to Master Godly Mathematician. There were 12 Starry Sky Dominators. Among them, Starry Sky God Clairvoyant could calculate anything, which was why Bai Jing had come looking for him. Seeing that Bai Jing didn't say anything, the Divine Mathematician continued, I won't ask about the grudges between you and Longao, nor will I interfere. If I help you deal with him, once this matter spreads out, I will be laughed at by everyone. The Starry Sky Ruler had never casually interfered in the affairs of the vast cosmos. Godly Mathematician was master. What was the reason? Bai Jing couldn't figure it out. She didn't know why Master Godly Mathematician didn't want to help. Under normal circumstances, given her status and strength, Master Godly Mathematician would choose her over Longao without hesitation and give up on Longao. But what was the result? Bai Jing knew that Master Godly Mathematician didn't want to. Even if Master Godly Mathematician told her, he wouldn't have spread the news. Sir, in that case, I'll take my leave first. If Master Godly Mathematician didn't want to help, there was no point in her staying. Just as Bai Jing was about to leave. Bai Jing, Sir, what are your orders? Bai Jing was curious. She didn't know why Master Godly Mathematician called her. In the vast universe, only the 9 of you have obtained a secret realm and become half-step Starry Sky Dominators. What did that mean? Bai Jing was even more curious. It was common knowledge that only the 9 of them had become half-step Starry Sky Dominators. Why did Master Godly Mathematician suddenly mention this? Master God Diviner continued, I'm sure you already know about the 12 Chaos Tablets that appeared in the Chaos Plane. Let me give you a piece of advice. You'd best devour the Chaos Tablets as soon as possible and become a ruler of the stars. Otherwise, the 9 of you won't even have a chance. What did that mean? Bai Jing was completely confused. Just as she was about to ask, Master Godly Mathematician waved his hand and said, You can go. Bai Jing was extremely depressed. She nodded helplessly, turned around, and slowly left. Master Godly Mathematician shook his head helplessly and closed his eyes to rest. Outside the Tianwu Plain, Bai Jing's face was very gloomy and ugly. Master Godly Mathematician's words were very clear. It seemed that the vast universe would be in trouble in the future. Bai Jing didn't care about anything else, but Master Godly Mathematician's words were something she couldn't ignore. The key was the Chaos Steels. If she couldn't devour the Chaos Steels and become a Starry Sky Dominator, even if things didn't affect her in the future, she would be in a very passive position. After all, there were 12 Starry Sky Dominators in the vast universe. One day, if the 12 Starry Sky Dominators weren't happy, she would be finished. No matter what happened, she had to get the Chaos Steels. Otherwise, she would be in a passive position. Thinking of this, Bai Jing couldn't wait to find Longao. At this time, only Longao could help her get the Chaos Steels. However, without Master Godly Mathematician's help, it was difficult for her to lock onto Longao's position. As for the location of the Soaring Dragon Empire, in the vast starry sky, trying to find the location of the Soaring Dragon Empire was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. This was also the most depressing thing for Bai Jing. As a half-step Starry Sky Dominator, This was the first time she encountered such a situation. What kind of starry sky divine tool in Longao's hand was this starry sky divine tool? Other than Gong Sun He, no one else knew that Bai Jing had left the first starry sky empire. After all, with Bai Jing's strength, even if someone knew, no one could stop her. Even Gong Sun He couldn't stop her. After all, Gong Sun He's strength was the strongest under the Starry Sky Dominator. Longao didn't plan to return to the first Starry Sky Empire for the time being. As long as Bai Jing and the first Starry Sky Empire didn't fight, it would be useless even if he went. It wasn't easy to wait for the third Starry Sky Empire to help him, but Bai Jing chose to avoid the battle. It was a very annoying thing. Ao, father, are you looking for me? Longao was very curious to see his father in such a hurry. He didn't know what had happened, but seeing his father in such a hurry, could something have happened in the Empire? Chapter 2402. Long Yi was very anxious, his face filled with impatience. Ao, something happened to your mother. Standing up, Longao was completely stunned. His mother was the most important person in his life. Nothing could happen to her. Longao's speed was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he was gone. In a courtyard with an extremely elegant environment. Everyone was gathered outside the courtyard. All of them had anxious expressions and were very worried. Even those who had already devoured the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet immediately came out. Grandpa, what's going on? Longao Shi was also very worried. Ao, according to my guess, if there are no accidents, your mother's accident should be related to the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. With a big stride, Longao had already rushed into the room. Currently, only Yuan, Aoshue, Bai Ling, and Yen were in the room. How is mother? The four women shook their heads. Their faces were filled with helplessness and sadness. Yuan was the leader of the four women. She said worriedly, Brother Long, mother has been unconscious for dozens of minutes. I can clearly feel that there is a problem with her mind. Mind? Others did not know, but Longao and the others were very clear. Mother had devoured the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. Under normal circumstances, the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet had already been tempered by his own non-attributed Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. It was impossible for there to be a backlash. If it was before, it was still possible for the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet to have a backlash. Longao immediately began to carefully examine it. Sure enough, it was just as his grandfather and Yuan had guessed. The reason why his mother had fainted was completely because there was a problem with the Spiritual Primal Chaos Stone Tablet in her body. However, the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet did not have any remnant soul inside. As for the reason, he did not know at this time. The people in the room were all his own people. Other than the four women, there was only his father. Even his grandfather did not come in. Ao, how is your mother? Long Yi was very worried. All along, Long Yi and Mu Lin's relationship had been very good. Mu Lin's sudden situation made Long Yi extremely worried. Father, mother is temporarily unconscious because of the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. She should be fine. Saying that, Longao carried his mother and disappeared from the room with the four women and his father. Within the Primal Chaos Palace. Although Longao already knew that his mother had fainted because of the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet, he was unable to find out the exact situation. With the current situation, he could only rely on the non-attributed Primal Chaos Stone Tablet to see what was going on. He immediately began to check. Long Yi and the other four did not say anything. They just watched quietly. The matter of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet could only be resolved by Longao alone. Even if others wanted to interfere, it was also something impossible. Anxiously waiting. No one knew what was going on. The attributeless Primal Chaos Stone Tablet's grade was obviously above the Spirit Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. No problem at all? Unable to sense any problems, this time, Longao was completely depressed. If there was no problem with the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet, then why was his mother unconscious? He was very anxious. Ao, what's going on? Helplessly shaking his head, Longao said helplessly, Father, I've just used the non-attributed Primal Chaos Stone Tablet to sense it. There's no problem with Mother's Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. No problem? Hearing Longao's words, the five of them were curious. Could it not be about the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet? Ai. Long-E heaved a heavy sigh. He was very worried. He looked at his wife quietly, unable to say a word. Longao's face was also helpless. Anyway, he had 3 months. He temporarily arranged for his father and mother to stay in the Primal Chaos Palace. This way, he could temporarily stabilize his mother's condition. In the courtyard, after sending his grandfather and the others away, Longao looked at the 4 people in front of him and said, Mother's situation is very special. I haven't found out what's going on with her, but I can say that her sudden coma should be related to the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. However, even with my non-attributed Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, I can't find out what's going on. Yuan and the others nodded. Of course, they already understood what was going on. Brother Long, don't worry too much. Mother is definitely fine. I know. Longao would definitely not choose to give up. He immediately entered the Primal Chaos Palace and continued to check on his mother's body. He also moved his father out. In the entire Primal Chaos Palace, only Longao and Mu Lin were left. Mu Lin was still unconscious. He quietly stood there, looking at his mother who was just inches away from him. Mother, please don't let anything happen to you. Otherwise, deeply sighing, Longao did not hesitate and immediately began to sense. It was still the same sentence. Right now, the only way was to rely on the non-attributed Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and hope that he could sense what was going on with the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. In the end, he still did not find anything. With no other choice, Longao could only find Xiling. He went straight to the point and said, Xiling, I believe you already know about my mother's situation. I used the non-attributed Primal Chaos Stone Tablet before but did not find anything. Do you know what happened? Among all the people in the Soaring Dragon Empire, only Xiling was the ruler of the stars. As for the other people who had swallowed the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, none of them had been able to truly refine it. Therefore, Longao's first thought was of Xiling. Xiling also knew the seriousness of the matter. He also knew what had happened. His face was very serious. He said helplessly, Longao, don't worry. I already understand Auntie's situation. I also checked Auntie's body before. Just as you guessed, if nothing unexpected happened, Auntie's temporary coma must be related to the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. Regarding this point, Longao of course knew. It was just that he could not find out what was wrong with the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. Otherwise, he would have solved it long ago. There was no need to wait until now. Looking at the worried Longao, Xiling said, Longao, the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet has just appeared. Whether it is the same as the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet we have is still unknown. Even your non-attributed Primal Chaos Stone Tablet cannot sense anything. It seems like this matter is very troublesome. Listening to Xiling's words, Longao already understood what Xiling meant. It seemed like even Xiling could not do anything. This was really troublesome. If he had known this would happen, he would not have let his mother swallow the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. Now, it seemed like he had gone for wool and come home shorn. Not only did he not help his mother, he might have even harmed her. If that was really the case, how could he explain himself? Chapter 2403. Longao originally wanted his mother to swallow the Spiritual Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and become the ruler of the universe. In the end, Longao never would have thought that his good intentions would harm his mother. Xiling sighed deeply. Even she had no way to deal with the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet. Longao, don't worry. Auntie will definitely be fine. Since things were already like this, there was no point in saying more. The most important thing now was to quickly understand the situation with the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet and wake his mother up. The longer he delayed, the worse it would be for his mother. What should he do? Just as Longao couldn't think of a solution, Murong Yenner suddenly found Longao and said, "Brother Long, I have a guess. I don't know if it's true or not." "Tell me." Longao didn't have much hope. Although he trusted Yenner, he didn't know much about the primal chaos stone tablet, much less Yenner. "Brother Long, Mother swallowed the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet, right?" "That's right." Longao didn't know what Yenner was trying to say. Others might not know, but Yenner and the others knew. The primal chaos stone tablet their mother had swallowed was one of the 12 primal chaos stone tablets, the spirit primal chaos stone tablet. Since she knew, what did Yenner mean? He couldn't figure it out. "Brother Long, the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet's power, without a doubt, is the so-called spirit. If Mother wants to refine the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet, she will definitely come into contact with the spirit primal chaos stone tablet's power." Slowly, Longao began to understand Yenner's meaning. He was very excited. Mother's strength is there. If she were to refine the other tablets, there wouldn't be any problems. Only the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet is impossible. Not just Mother, I believe that no matter who it is, without a strong spirit as a backup, they will encounter this situation. Nodding in agreement, Longao completely understood Yenner's meaning. If nothing unexpected happened, Yenner's guess was correct. Murong Yenner's meaning was actually very simple. The 24 primal chaos stone tablets, apart from his own non-elemental primal chaos stone tablet which didn't have any elemental attribute, all the other primal chaos stone tablets contained their own elemental attribute. The primal chaos stone tablet his mother had swallowed contained the so-called spiritual energy. Spiritual chaos stone tablet, the spiritual energy contained within, just thinking about it, one would know what it meant. This was just like if his mother's spiritual energy was a drop of water, then the spiritual energy contained within the spiritual chaos stone tablet was a vast ocean. He tried to imagine what would happen if a drop of water tried to swallow an ocean. What kind of concept was that? He had completely dug his own grave. He had made a mistake, because Longao had not thought of this from start to finish. In the end, he still did not understand the attributes of the 12 Chaos Stone Tablets, especially the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet. It was because of his mistake that his mother almost died. Guilt. However, Longao was very clear in his heart that no matter how much he blamed himself at this time, it was useless. The most important thing now was to think of a way to help his mother. Since he already knew the root of the problem, then the following matters would be much easier. Yenner, thank you. It's nothing, quickly go and save your mother. Longao smiled and immediately turned around to return to the Primal Chaos Palace. This time, he really had to thank Murong Yenner, because if not for Yenner's reminder, who knew how long it would have taken him to figure out the reason. Not only him, even Xiling, including everyone else, didn't think of this reason. Although he already knew the reason, to truly help his mother, it was still very difficult. Without any other choice, Longao found Xiling. After telling Xiling the root of the problem, Longao asked, "Xiling, what should I do now? Only then can I help my mother." The current Longao, because of his mother's sudden coma, Longao's mind was in a mess. Longao was also a human, not a god. Xiling thought for a moment, then said, "Longao, if we withdraw the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet now, not only will your mother's condition not improve, it might even backfire, so we can't do that." "That's right." Longao, of course, knew what Xiling was saying. This was also what he was thinking. They definitely couldn't do that. If anything happened to his mother, how could he explain it to himself? How could he explain it to his father? Nothing could happen to his mother. Longao, if you trust me, why don't we try it together? Xiling, if I didn't trust you, I wouldn't have asked you to come. Longao had absolute confidence in Xiling. Otherwise, he wouldn't have told Xiling the secret of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. After all, everyone knew what the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet meant. Xiling smiled, because she knew what Longao meant. For someone to trust her so much, she was really happy. Longao, Yen is right. Your mother's spiritual power is completely unable to fight against the spiritual power of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. The only thing we need to do now is to continuously strengthen your mother's spiritual power. You and I, on the other hand, don't have enough power. If I can recover my peak strength, perhaps I can help your mother. The Oracle? That's right, it's the Oracle. In the vast universe, the Oracle is the only master of the universe. But we can't let him know about this, otherwise we'll be in big trouble. Longao, of course, knew about this. Previously, outsiders didn't know where the 12 Primal Chaos Stone Tablets had gone. They only knew that they were scattered everywhere. Longao was almost certain that if the Oracle found out about this, not only would he not be able to help his mother, but he might even be killed. No matter what happened, this matter couldn't be leaked. That way, he wouldn't be able to find the Oracle. But according to Xiling, the Oracle was the only master of the universe who could help his mother. Violet Spirit, I'm going to exclude Master Clairvoyant. Just tell me what we should do to save Mother. If there was really no other way, even if he had to risk being discovered by the God Diviner, he would still have to look for the God Diviner. He couldn't just watch his mother remain unconscious and eventually be devoured by the Primal Chaos Tablet. If that were to happen, he would rather die than live. How could Xiling not know what Longao meant? But other than the Oracle, it would be difficult for anyone to help Mu Lin. After thinking about it, Xiling finally came up with a solution. Chapter 2404. Longao, I'm sure you know better than I do just how terrifying the Primal Chaos Tablet's power is. He nodded. Of all the Primal Chaos Tablets, the Primal Chaos Tablet was the most unique. The power of the mind was also a very special kind of power. If we casually help Auntie, when the time comes, not only will Auntie be in trouble, but we will also be swallowed up by the Primal Chaos Tablet. Longao knew exactly what Xiling meant. Although they'd both obtained Primal Chaos Tablets, they hadn't truly refined them. Taking a step back, even if they did refine them and became rulers of the universe, they still wouldn't be able to truly control the power within them. If that was the case, no matter which Primal Chaos Tablet it was, it could actually backfire on them and swallow them whole. This was what Longao and Xiling were most depressed about. Longao, there's only one way to help Auntie, but it's very dangerous. No. Without waiting for Xiling to finish speaking, Longao had already interrupted her and said, Xiling, no matter what, I will save you. In front of me, what method do you have? Xiling, of course, knew Longao's character well. In order to save his mother, he was willing to climb a mountain of swords or plunge into a sea of flames. Longao, there are many forbidden areas in the vast starry sky. They are known as the forbidden zones of the starry sky. Many of them are so forbidden that not even the rulers of the starry sky, including the Master God Diviner, can enter them. Longao had heard a thing or two about the starry sky forbidden zones that Xiling spoke of. No one dared to take half a step into the starry sky forbidden zones. As for whether or not the rulers of the universe dared to enter, it was still unknown. But now that Xiling had said it, and he'd said it, it seemed that the starry sky forbidden zones were extremely dangerous. Even the rulers of the universe didn't dare take half a step into them. Xiling, The starry sky forbidden zones you speak of? The starry sky forbidden zones I speak of, I call them the starry sky forbidden zones. Starry sky forbidden zones? What did that mean? Without waiting for Longao to speak, Xiling continued, only my sister and I know about this starry sky forbidden zone. Back then, the two of us were traveling through the vast starry sky and accidentally discovered a forbidden zone. It was this forbidden spiritual zone. Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. Although my sister and I didn't step into it, we could clearly sense from the outside that there was a powerful mental energy within the forbidden spiritual area. Even I didn't dare to approach it at that time. If I did, I would be devoured by the mental energy released by the forbidden spiritual area. Spiritual backlash? Longao already knew what Xiling meant. He was very surprised. If Xiling hadn't said it himself, he wouldn't have believed it. Who would have thought that there were other forces in the vast cosmos that could counterattack against the Star-Lord? Although Luo Yunyang's mind power was strong, it was still impossible for him to retaliate against the starry sky ruler. It could be seen from this, just how terrifying was the spiritual energy contained in the spiritual forbidden area. Xiling, where is the forbidden spiritual zone? Longao couldn't wait. As he said, as long as he could save his mother, he had to go to the forbidden spiritual area no matter what danger he encountered, even if he knew that he would die. According to Xiling, apart from the oracle, the forbidden spiritual area seemed to be the only way to save his mother. This time, he had to go. Xiling knew Longao's character very well. He had no choice but to tell him the truth and said, Longao, I'll go with you this time. Longao waved his hand and said, Xiling, I know you mean well, but the Empire still needs you to protect it. If something happens to both you and me, then if anything happens to the Empire, Longao didn't want to continue because Xiling already knew what he meant. Longao didn't give Xiling any chance to speak. He turned and left. The Empire is free of you. Before Longao left, he found his big brother and told him the whole story. Big brother, you have to help me keep this a secret. I'll leave father and the Empire to you. If anything happens to me, seventh brother, you'll be fine. Longao smiled. Big brother, I'm just saying. I'm very lucky. I'll be fine. Before waiting for Longing to speak, Longao already took a step out, his entire person disappearing without a trace. Longing sighed deeply. Longing knew that without his seventh brother, the Empire would soon be destroyed. Even if they managed to devour the Chaos Tablet, it would be nonsense. According to the location Xiling had told him, Longao left the plane and headed for the forbidden spiritual area as quickly as he could. The starry sky was vast and boundless. Not even Master God Diviner and the others knew how vast the starry sky was. Because of this, there were many forbidden areas in the starry sky, some of which even the starry sky ruler didn't dare take half a step into. Even with Longao's speed, it took him a few days to barely reach the destination. He was surprised, because the area around the forbidden spiritual area was desolate and uninhabited. There wasn't a single plane in sight. It was pitch black, as though the primal chaos had yet to be created. It was strange, even sinister. In the distance, Longao saw an enormous sphere off in the distance. He sped up. A few minutes later, Longao arrived at the forbidden spiritual area. Thousands of meters away, Longao could clearly sense the terrifying psychic energy emanating from the forbidden spiritual area. It fiercely attacked him, and he hurriedly retreated. If he was too slow, the consequences would be unthinkable. He was certain that his own mind would be devoured by the psychic energy released by the forbidden spiritual area. What a terrifying psychic energy devour! Longao's face was as dark as it could get. Listening to Xiling was one thing, but actually seeing the forbidden spiritual area was another. If he hadn't seen it, he wouldn't have known, but now he was scared out of his wits. It was depressing. Fortunately, he had brought his mother with him. If something unexpected happened, he could deal with it at any time. Longao had already thought about it. If something really happened to him, then his mother would die with him. If he died, his mother would have no one to save her. He would be buried with her. This time, he had to succeed. If he didn't succeed, he would die trying. Clenching his fists, Longao stared at the forbidden spiritual area in front of him. He tried to take a step forward to see if there was a way to get close to the forbidden spiritual area. If he couldn't even get close to the forbidden spiritual area, then there was no way he could enter it. If he wanted to borrow the power of the forbidden spiritual area to save his mother, it would be complete nonsense. Chapter 2405. He was very anxious. Longao was very anxious because the longer he delayed, the worse it would be for his mother. He had to deal with the forbidden spiritual zone as fast as possible. Between the God Diviner and the forbidden spiritual zone, Longao would definitely choose the forbidden spiritual zone without hesitation and give up on the God Diviner. If he couldn't succeed, then if he didn't die, he would have to ask the God Diviner for help. The forbidden spiritual zone emitted terrifying spiritual energy all around. As Longao got close, he would be devoured by the spiritual energy released by the forbidden spiritual zone. 1,000 meters. At most 1,000 meters. Longao had already discovered the distance between him and the forbidden spiritual zone. As long as he got within 1,000 meters, he would definitely be devoured by the spiritual energy. What should he do? Looking at the forbidden spiritual zone in front of him, Longao couldn't think of a good idea. Finally, helpless, Longao could only summon the attributeless Primal Chaos Stone Tablet from the Primal Chaos Palace and try to see if it could help him get close to the forbidden spiritual zone. The attributeless Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was obviously of a high grade. However, the result was that Longao couldn't truly control the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, much less the power within. The result was obvious. The attributeless Primal Chaos Stone Tablet couldn't help Longao get close to the forbidden spiritual zone. He was furious, using his finger as a sword. He slashed down towards the forbidden spiritual zone. Controlling space, one could shatter space. Not only could one create space tiers, one could even compress space tiers. This was because Longao's strength wasn't strong enough. If his cultivation base could smoothly break through the limit of the Starry Sky Immortal Realm or the half-step Starry Sky Ruler Realm, not to mention others, this move alone was enough to disdain the Starry Sky. Legend of Space, just one step away from officially becoming a space immortal. However, this step was as hard as ascending to the heavens. Under the shattering space, countless space tiers began to appear, and they were being forcefully compressed. Taking advantage of the shattering space, Longao took a step forward and teleported, disappearing from his spot. This was Longao. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't dare to do so. Longao's actions were completely suicidal. Longao was now completely anxious. If it was in the past, he definitely wouldn't have done this. Although Longao could move forward for a short period of time with the help of the cracks in the starry sky, the consequences would be unimaginable if there were any mishap. He would probably be consigned to eternal damnation. At this moment of life and death. It was truly a moment of life and death. At this moment, Longao no longer cared about his own life. Even if he died, as long as he could save his mother, it would be worth it. The spatial rift began to crazily devour the surrounding spiritual power. Longao took advantage of this spatial crack and used spatial teleportation to quickly head towards the mind-forbidden area. Longao had never thought that even if he was close to the spiritual forbidden area, what could he do? However, Longao couldn't care less about anything else. Huff, 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 the spatial rift devoured spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy devoured the spatial rift in return. Both sides were fiercely entangled with each other, fighting to the death. Creek. If this were any other place, with Longao's current strength, he could teleport for a long distance. But right now, Longao had only managed to teleport for 300 meters before he was stopped by the spiritual power. Thankfully, there was the spatial rift. Otherwise, just the surrounding spiritual power alone would have been enough to devour Longao's spirit clean. One could imagine the consequences. Even so, Longao was still severely injured, and nearly died from the backlash of the spiritual power. He did not dare to continue forward. Under such circumstances, if he were to continue forward, the only path left for him would be death. Immediately, he tore through the spatial rift once more. Taking advantage of the fact that the spatial rift was devouring the spiritual power, Longao headed back the way he came. It could be said that he had taken a trip to the gates of hell. Sitting down on the ground, Longao was panting heavily. He knew clearly that if he had been the slightest bit careless, he would have long been dead by now. He was indignant. He was just one step away from getting close to the spiritual ground. But that single step was a failure. If only the Chaos Palace could be shifted. Longao was well aware of the power of the Chaos Palace. Even his spiritual power could not devour the Chaos Palace. But it was a pity that he could not truly control the power of the Chaos Palace to shift its position. This was the most depressing thing for Longao. The more anxious he was, the more Longao could not calm down. Even if it was a life-and-death battle, he would not be like this. No matter what, his mother was the most important person to him. Nothing must happen to her. It was still because his strength was not enough. If he could break through to the Starry Sky immortal level, then both his mastery of the Starry Sky and his speed would be greatly enhanced. With that, his chances of getting close to the forbidden spiritual ground would be greatly increased as well. He did not continue because Longao knew that in this situation, even if he died, he would not be able to take half a step closer to the spiritual forbidden area. Rather than that, he might as well think of every method to try and see how he could raise his cultivation and save himself from wasting time. He immediately sat down cross-legged. Now that Longao's cultivation base had reached the complete Starry Sky Legend realm, he was only one step away from reaching the Starry Sky immortal level. However, Longao had tried many times but failed to break through. Relying on the time he had now, it was definitely far from enough. The best way was to use the mysterious power of the Chaos Palace. Unfortunately, if he could not control the Chaos Palace, he would not be able to mobilize the mysterious power at will. If that was the case, it would be nonsense for him to wait for the mysterious power. Instead of waiting for the mysterious power of the Chaos Palace, it was better to think of other ways to raise his strength quickly. 9-revolution chaos formula? That would not work either. Ever since he broke through the 6th revolution of the 9-revolution chaos formula, it was very difficult for him to continue breaking through even if he was in a life-or-death situation. It was almost impossible to reach the 7th revolution. Moreover, ever since he broke through the 6th revolution, Longao finally knew that the 9-revolution reincarnation formula he possessed was the so-called 9-revolution chaos formula. No one knew how to break through the 7th revolution. He could not count on the Chaos Palace, nor could he count on the 9-revolution chaos formula. After thinking about it, Longao really could not think of a good way to break through the current realm in the shortest time. The next day, Longao's cultivation base still had not broken through smoothly. He was really depressed to the extreme. If this continued, even if he could break through in the future, he was afraid that everything would be delayed. His mother would not wait for anyone. If she missed the opportunity because of him, then he would be sorry for his mother. Chapter 2406. Continue to fight. Longao couldn't wait any longer. He held the Chaos Axe in his hand. This time, even if he died, he had to get close to the forbidden spiritual land. All of this depended on the Chaos Axe. With a stride, Long Ao's figure directly rushed out without using the space teleportation. Long Ao's chaos axe in his hand directly and quickly slashed out with the so-called Starry Sky mastery. Under the combination of the two, countless cracks began to appear in the surrounding space and began to devour the surrounding spiritual power. The chaos axe in Long Ao's hand was slashing out faster and faster. The speed was too fast. After images flashed and the cracks in the surrounding space appeared one after another. It was continuous. This time, Long Ao held the chaos axe in his hand and continued to open up space. Step by step, he quickly moved towards the forbidden spiritual land. Long Ao did not dare to hesitate in the slightest because he knew very well in his heart that he could not relax in the slightest. Once his speed slowed down, he would definitely fail at the last moment. He had to succeed. The distance of 1,000 meters was too close for Long Ao. He only needed a few steps to reach it smoothly. The closer he was to the forbidden spiritual land, the stronger the spiritual backlash was. Even so, Long Ao still moved forward bravely without hesitation. Every step was like stepping over a volcano. It was extremely difficult. Just as he was a few meters away from the forbidden spiritual land, about a meter away, the situation suddenly changed. The spiritual backlash all around disappeared without a trace. It was still happening outside, but it had stopped inside. Putting away the chaos axe in his hand, Long Ao was very curious. He didn't know why the spiritual backlash suddenly disappeared less than a meter away from the forbidden spiritual land. But even so, Long Ao still didn't dare to relax. According to Xiling, when Xiling and Bai Ling came to the forbidden spiritual land, even with their powerful strength, they still couldn't step into the forbidden spiritual land. One could imagine how terrifying the forbidden spiritual land was. Although the spiritual backlash had temporarily disappeared, Long Ao still didn't dare to have any negligence. No one knew when the spiritual backlash around would spread. Long Ao was really too afraid of the spiritual backlash. Fortunately, he had the help of the chaos axe this time. Otherwise, it would be a dream to step within a meter of the forbidden spiritual land. The forbidden spiritual land, a huge entrance that was extremely dark. Manic spiritual power surging madly. Just a little closer was like approaching a volcano. What a terrifying spiritual power. Long Ao didn't dare to step in, because the spiritual power within a meter was more terrifying than the spiritual backlash outside. At least 10 times stronger. What kind of concept? In the current situation, there was about 1/3 of a meter of space between the space inside and the space outside. Long Ao was safe here. As for whether the spiritual counterattack would spread to this vacuum space, nobody knew. This was what was the most to worry to the forbidden spiritual land. In order to prevent the internal and external spiritual backlash from affecting his vacuum space, it was best to think of a way to enter the forbidden spiritual zone as quickly as possible. Until now, Long Ao still didn't know anything about the forbidden spiritual land. As for whether he would live or die after entering, no one knew what kind of danger he would encounter. But even so, Long Ao still chose to enter without hesitation. Even if he knew that he would encounter danger and whether he would live or die, he still went in. This was the so-called knowing that there are tigers in the mountain. Everything was worth it for his mother. Long Ao released his power and began to sense the spiritual power at the entrance, trying to enter. But the result? He couldn't take half a step in. Long Ao was very depressed. Things had already come to this. If he chose to give up like this, even he wouldn't be able to forgive himself. Long Ao could be sure that as long as he took half a step, which was within a meter, he would definitely be devoured by the spiritual power in an instant. Not even a strand of hair would be left. Although he could die for his mother, Long Ao couldn't die for nothing. Acting recklessly would not only harm himself, but also his mother. He had to protect himself. That was the only way he could save his mother. Longao still tried to use the Chaos Axe to see if he could forcefully break open the entrance. Even if he took 10,000 steps back. Even if he couldn't break open the entrance, if he could successfully bring himself into the forbidden spiritual land, that would be a pretty good thing. The reason he came to the forbidden spiritual land this time round wasn't to destroy the entrance. It was to enter the forbidden spiritual land. There was one more thing that Longao couldn't grasp. Even if he could enter the forbidden spiritual land, he didn't know what kind of dangers he would encounter. Whether he could use the forbidden spiritual land to help his mother, he didn't know either. But even if there was only a 1 in a million chance that he could help his mother wake up, Longao would still choose to enter without hesitation. Boom, boom, boom. Along with the Chaos Axe, axe after axe slammed down continuously. Based on the strength of the Chaos Axe, he should be able to break open the entrance. But the result? There was no movement at all. The spirit at the entrance danced wildly, completely ignoring the Chaos Axe. Longao was extremely frustrated right now. He had been using the Chaos Axe to smash down wildly, but he still hadn't managed to break open the entrance. If that was the case, it would be extremely difficult for him to enter the forbidden spiritual land. What should he do? Longao was wary of the backlash from the spirit inside and outside. He didn't know when he would be affected by the backlash in this so-called vacuum zone. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. Longao wouldn't give up so easily. If the Chaos Axe couldn't do it, then he would use the Chaos Seal. But the Chaos Seal still couldn't do it. If that was the case, it seemed like his elemental Chaos Stone Tablet wouldn't work either. He was at a loss. For a moment, Longao didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to enter the forbidden spiritual land. Time Chaos Stone Tablet? Longao tried to summon out the Time Chaos Stone Tablet that his mother had devoured from the Chaos Hall. Before Longao floated a Chaos Stone Tablet. It was one of the 12 Chaos Stone Tablets that he had obtained, the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet. The surrounding was filled with spirit energy. If the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet could help him devour the surrounding spirit energy, he might be able to step into the forbidden spiritual land. The Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet did not suffer any backlash from the surrounding spiritual energy. After all, the spiritual energy within the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet was the ancestor of all spiritual energy. Not to mention the current spiritual energy, even if it was 10 times or 100 times stronger, wanting to devour the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet would be nonsense. Chapter 2407. Longao didn't refine the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet, so he couldn't control it. Everything depended on luck. He hoped that the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet could help him enter the spiritual Forbidden Land. The Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet started to revolve crazily. It didn't devour the spiritual energy around it. Instead, it started to revolve the spiritual energy around it. What was going on? It was very depressing. If the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet couldn't help him enter the forbidden spiritual land, then he really couldn't think of any other way to smoothly enter the forbidden spiritual land. But in the next second, before Longao could react, the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet suddenly exploded with a terrifying spiritual energy. There was no counterattack. Longao was overjoyed. It seemed like the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet was affected by the attribute-less Chaos Stone Tablet and didn't counterattack him. Taking advantage of the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet's suppression of the spiritual energy around him. With a big stride, Longao fearlessly walked towards the entrance. So, in the blink of an eye, Longao disappeared without a trace. Inside the spiritual Forbidden Land, Longao had just stepped in and thought that he would be attacked by endless spiritual energy. But the result? There was no movement at all. What was going on? Longao was very puzzled. He didn't know what was going on inside the spiritual Forbidden Land. He didn't receive any spiritual energy attack. After confirming again and again, he found that he didn't receive any spiritual energy attack. Longao finally heaved a sigh of relief. The spiritual energy outside was already so strong, not to mention the spiritual energy inside. He believed that it would be even more terrifying. Looking around, there was a black mass everywhere, giving people a very oppressive feeling. As for the situation inside the spiritual Forbidden Land, not to mention himself, even Xiling didn't know. Because when Xiling found this place, he couldn't even take half a step in. Everything depended on himself. His mother's situation was very dangerous. He couldn't waste any time and immediately started to act. To wake his mother up and not be attacked by the spiritual chaos stone tablet, the only way was to continuously strengthen his mother's spiritual energy. There wasn't a trace of spiritual energy around. Longao did not hesitate in the slightest and immediately started running. Longao's speed was extremely fast. He even used teleportation, hoping to find what he was looking for. The forbidden spiritual land was boundless. Even with Longao's speed, after running for 2 hours, he still hadn't reached the boundary of the spiritual forbidden zone. What kind of concept was that? No matter where he went, the environment was the same. There was no change. This was not the way to go. In the end, with no other choice, Longao could only use the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet again, hoping that by relying on the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet, he would be able to find the so-called Spirit Origin. Spirit Origin. This was what Xiling had told Longao before he left. The spiritual energy within the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet was too strong. Normal spiritual energy would not be able to suppress the spiritual energy's backlash. Who knew if his mother would be able to resist the Spiritual Chaos Stone Tablet's backlash after devouring the spiritual energy? The only spiritual energy was the so-called Spirit Origin. Only within the Forbidden Spiritual Land, whether or not there was a Spirit Origin, no one knew. Xiling was just guessing. Hence, Longao was also looking at his own luck, looking at his mother's luck. He hoped that there really was a Spirit Origin in the Forbidden Spiritual Land. Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet, whether or not my mother will be safe depends on you. As if it could understand Longao's meaning, in the next second, the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet immediately rushed forward. Its speed was extremely fast. Looking at the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet that had already disappeared, Longao's heart was filled with joy. It seemed like there was hope. Without any hesitation, he immediately followed the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet. Longao's speed was extremely fast. After running for a full 10 minutes, Longao followed the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet and arrived in front of a water pillar. Although it was called a water pillar, it wasn't a real water pillar. It was just a spiritual pillar formed by a terrifying amount of spiritual energy, which was the so-called Spirit Origin. Looking at the spiritual pillar in front of him, Longao was extremely surprised. It was really a case of searching high and low only to find it by chance. However, even in the face of the spiritual pillar, Longao didn't casually make a move. This was because if there was even the slightest mistake, not only would he not be able to help his mother, he might even harm her and have the opposite effect. There couldn't be any mistakes. What should he do? For a moment, Longao didn't know. This was because he was very clear that his mother definitely couldn't directly devour the Spirit Origin. If she forcefully devoured it, she might explode from the Spirit Origin and die. What should he do? He definitely couldn't use the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet to devour the Spirit Origin. If that was the case, his mother's spiritual energy would be unable to suppress the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet. If that was the case, his mother would only end up in a coma forever. She might even be completely devoured by the Spirit Chaos Stone Tablet. This was something that he absolutely couldn't do. Gently carrying his mother out of the Primal Chaos Palace, Longao stared at the spiritual source in front of him. Regardless of whether it would work or not, he had to try. Otherwise, He would not be able to make a decision if something happened in front of him after he had braved the danger of death and finally stepped into the spiritual forbidden area and successfully found the spiritual source. Since things had already come to this, he could only go all out. If something really happened to his mother, he would just accompany her. After thinking about it, Longao finally came up with a solution. He would use himself as a medium to purify the spiritual pillar and then transfer it to his mother. This was the safest thing to do. If it were anyone else, they definitely wouldn't dare to do this. This was because if there was the slightest mistake, Longao would definitely die. However, for his mother, let alone danger, he didn't even care if he died. Without any hesitation, Longao immediately came before the spiritual pillar and directly reached out with his right hand to touch the spiritual pillar. In just a short while, a steady stream of mental energy gushed out from the mental energy spring. At the fastest speed, it frantically poured into Longao's body. Without any hesitation, Longao immediately began to refine the spiritual energy in his body. If the refining speed was too slow, he would be devoured by the spiritual energy before he could transfer it to his mother. If that happened, the consequences would be unthinkable. He refined the spiritual energy in his body as quickly as possible and transferred it to his mother as quickly as possible. Even so, he still couldn't keep up. At this speed, he believed that he wouldn't be able to resist the spiritual energies devouring in less than 10 minutes. Chapter 2408. The situation was very dangerous. The longer this dragged on, the worse it would be for him and his mother. The speed of refining the mental energy was far slower than the mental energy from the outside world. As time passed, Longao felt that he was getting weaker and weaker. What should he do? After his mother swallowed the mental energy, her condition improved. Although she didn't immediately wake up, Longao was certain that in less than a day, his mother would wake up. It was very depressing. It wasn't easy to find the source of mental energy, but now it was so difficult. He couldn't let this continue. Longao didn't dare hesitate. He tried to borrow the power of the neutral primal chaos stone tablet to see if it could help. He didn't have the slightest bit of confidence. Because until now, Longao still hadn't truly grasped the neutral primal chaos stone tablet. Wanting to use the power of the neutral primal chaos stone tablet was practically impossible. Just as Longao had guessed, the neutral primal chaos stone tablet didn't move at all. This time, Longao was completely dejected. If this was really the case, would he and his mother really die here? Since things had already reached this point, wanting to retreat was practically an impossible thing. However, Longao didn't dare to continue hesitating. Because if he was the slightest bit careless, whether it was himself or his mother, they would all be consigned to eternal damnation. Primal Chaos Seal? Just at this moment, within Longao's body, a small black seal suddenly appeared. It was the Primal Chaos Seal from the Primal Chaos Palace. What was going on? Longao was very curious, because ever since the Dragon Seal had transformed into the Primal Chaos Seal, he didn't know anything about the Primal Chaos Seal that he had. However, Longao was almost certain that whether it was the Primal Chaos Seal, the Primal Chaos Axe, the neutral Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, or the Primal Chaos Palace, they all seemed to contain Primal Chaos Energy. Primal Chaos Energy was practically the most powerful energy in the vast universe. Even the 12 rulers of the universe hadn't truly grasped Primal Chaos Energy. If he could grasp the Primal Chaos Axe, Primal Chaos Seal, Primal Chaos Palace, and the neutral Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, he could imagine that in the future, he wouldn't need to fear anyone. However, at this moment, Longao didn't have time to think about anything else. He had to deal with the mental energy first. The Seal of Chaos released a mysterious power. As for whether it was the power of chaos or not, even Longao was not sure. He couldn't care less about anything else. Sensing that this mysterious power could actually slightly stop the crazy influx of mental power, Longao's heart was simply overjoyed to the extreme. Since then, that way, he would have enough time to continuously refine his mind power. Endless mental energy was being refined. Then, an endless stream of mental energy began to surge into Mu Lin's body, which was the so-called spiritual sea. The entire spirit source was simply too massive. No matter how long Ao tried to refine it, or even devour it, the spirit source did not seem to be damaged at all. His speed became faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed quietly. Cough, cough, cough. Seeing that his mother had finally woken up, Longao was overjoyed and immediately asked, "Mother, are you okay?" "Aor, what happened?" After confirming that his mother was indeed okay, Longao let out a sigh of relief. He did not hide anything and told her everything that had happened. However, he did not mention the danger. "Aor, are we okay now?" "Mother, you're fine for now. However, if you can't deal with the spiritual chaos stone tablet, you will still be devoured by it in the future." Longao was almost certain about this point. There was only one way now, and that was to continuously strengthen his mother's mind power. So strong that even the spiritual chaos stone tablet could not devour his mother. It was very simple to think about, but it was very difficult to actually do it. Longao also knew the difficulty. However, he had only refined 1/1000th of the spirit source in front of him. If his mother could really devour all of the spirit source, then she could completely ignore the backlash from the spiritual chaos stone tablet. However, Longao did not immediately start. This was because he knew how dangerous it was to forcefully devour the spirit source. He knew better than anyone else how dangerous it was to forcefully devour the spirit source. If there was a slight mistake, his mother would be doomed eternally. The consequences would be unimaginable. He did not continue talking to his mother. Since his mother was fine, the most important thing now was to quickly deal with the so-called spirit source. Otherwise, even if his mother was fine now, it did not mean that she would be fine in the future. Looking at the spirit source in front of him, Longao stared at it. In his mind, he thought of various ways to deal with the spirit source in front of him. Holding the seal of chaos, Longao had been sensing the power within the seal of chaos. This was because if it was not for the help of the seal of chaos, he believed that he would not be able to help his mother wake up. This also meant that he could continue to borrow the power of the seal of chaos to deal with the spirit source in front of him. However, the power that the seal of chaos had just released did not appear again. This made Longao very depressed. For a moment, Longao could not think of a way to deal with the spirit source. In the end, Longao really did not have a way. He could only choose to uproot it and return to the Empire to see if other people had a way to deal with it. However, it was not an easy task to uproot it. No matter what, the spirit source in front of him was too powerful. However, Longao was prepared to use the Primal Chaos Palace to see if he could do it. The Primal Chaos Palace floated out. Longao was very clear that with his strength, he was unable to truly control the Primal Chaos Palace. He could only rely on luck. Primal Chaos Palace, everything depends on you. Longao used his heart to communicate with the Primal Chaos Palace. As for whether it would succeed, it was unknown. However, the result shocked Longao. This was because the Primal Chaos Palace seemed to understand his words. In a short while, the palm-sized Primal Chaos Palace turned into an incomparably huge Primal Chaos Palace in the blink of an eye. Not only that, the huge Primal Chaos Palace began to crazily absorb the spirit source. This was something that should have been impossible, but in less than a few minutes, the spirit source was sucked back by the Primal Chaos Palace. Not far away, Longao was completely dumbfounded. He had thought that the Primal Chaos Palace might be able to deal with the spirit source. However, He never thought that the primal Chaos Palace would be able to absorb the spirit source so quickly. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Was this for real? Unbelievable. From this, one could imagine how powerful the primal Chaos Palace was. Longao smiled and immediately followed the spirit source back to the primal Chaos Palace. This time, his mother's crisis was completely resolved. As long as he could refine it, he would not have to worry about the primal Chaos Stone Tablet's backlash in the future. Chapter 2409. Within the Primal Chaos Palace. This is the spirit source? Looking at the drop of water in front of him, Longao was completely dumbfounded. What happened just now? Just now, after the spirit source was absorbed by the Primal Chaos Palace, before he and his mother could react, a mysterious power appeared in the Primal Chaos Palace. It was the mysterious power that helped Longao break through. How terrifying this mysterious power was, Longao was very clear in his heart. This mysterious force began to refine the spirit origin. In just a few seconds, the huge spirit origin had been refined into a drop of water. That's right, a drop of water. This caused Longao to be very shocked. He didn't know what the Primal Chaos Palace was doing. Was the Primal Chaos Palace helping him? At this moment, Longao didn't care what the Primal Chaos Palace was doing because the spirit source had been completely refined. No matter who it was, they could easily devour it without any side effects. Without any hesitation. Mother, quickly devour the spirit source. Mu Lin of course knew what spirit source meant. If her son could devour it, his strength would definitely improve greatly. Mu Lin of course couldn't bear to devour it. You should devour it. Mother is already old. How could Longao not know what his mother meant because he guessed that his mother couldn't bear to devour the spirit source? Because according to his calculations, devouring such a powerful spirit source, if nothing unexpected happened, his mother's cultivation should be able to break through to the legend rank or even the immortal rank. What kind of concept was this? Don't mention his mother. Even if it was himself, if he could devour the spirit source water droplet in front of him, not to mention breaking through to the immortal rank, it wouldn't be impossible for him to break through to the immortal rank. Don't look at it as just a droplet. This was the power of the entire spirit source. It was incomparably powerful. Longao definitely wouldn't devour the spirit source water droplet. The spirit primal chaos tablet's deterrence was there. With his mother's current spirit and strength, she couldn't compete with the spirit primal chaos tablet. Unless his mother stopped refining the spirit primal chaos tablet. But was that possible? It was definitely impossible. As long as it was someone close to him, Longao would do everything he could to make them devour the primal chaos stone tablets. There were no more chaos stone tablets left. Even if he wanted his mother to devour the other chaos stone tablets, it didn't seem too likely. Helplessly, he could only devour the spiritual primal chaos stone tablet. However, if his mother continued to refine the spiritual primal chaos tablet, she would definitely be devoured by the spiritual primal chaos tablet. Next time, if she couldn't find the spiritual source in time, the consequences would be unimaginable. What should he do? Mother, I won't say too much about the situation. I believe you should know that if you don't swallow this drop of water to strengthen your mental strength, you will definitely be devoured by the mental chaos stone tablet if you continue to refine it. Longao was very worried about his mother's safety. Before his mother could say anything, Longao continued, Mother, I'm begging you. Please devour the spirit source. I don't want anything to happen to you. Mu Lin originally wanted to say something, but she sighed deeply and said helplessly, All right? Hearing his mother agree, Longao was overjoyed. To ensure that nothing would go wrong, Longao immediately let his mother devour the spiritual source. After a while, Mu Lin had already successfully devoured the spiritual source water droplet and began to cultivate in the Primal Chaos Palace. The flow of time in the Primal Chaos Palace was much faster than outside. Longao didn't leave the Primal Chaos Palace for the time being because he was very clear that the spiritual source was very powerful. Although his mother had just devoured the spiritual source, he believed that if nothing went wrong, his mother's cultivation would quickly increase in a short period of time. No matter what, increasing one's mental strength was much easier than cultivating normally. As expected, just as Longao had guessed, in less than a day's time, his mother's cultivation rose like a rocket. If she devoured the spiritual source normally, not to mention using the spiritual source to quickly increase her strength, it was still unknown whether she could quickly refine the spiritual source. In the end, this was because the Primal Chaos Palace refined the spiritual source. This way, his mother didn't need to refine the spiritual source. She could directly absorb and fuse with it. She broke through again and again. On the second day, Mu Lin's cultivation had smoothly broken through to the starry sky immortal realm. Longao didn't expect it to be so fast. However, what surprised Longao was that his mother's cultivation didn't show any signs of stopping after breaking through to the starry sky immortal realm with the help of the spiritual source. Could it be that his mother's cultivation could break through to the starry sky immortal realm? If so, it was simply a pleasant surprise. Longao certainly knew what it meant if his mother really broke through to the starry sky immortal realm. If his mother's cultivation could really break through to the starry sky immortal realm, then refining the spiritual primal chaos tablet would be much faster. After his mother's cultivation broke through to the starry sky immortal realm, her cultivation speed had obviously slowed down a lot. This time, it took 3 days for his mother's cultivation to smoothly break through to the starry sky immortal realm. It was simply a pleasant surprise to the extreme. Longao really didn't expect that his mother could rely on the spiritual source to make rapid progress and directly rush to the so-called starry sky immortal realm. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, he really wouldn't believe it. She still hasn't stopped? Could it be that his mother could use the spiritual source to reach the half-step starry sky dominator realm in one go? It was a little unlikely because Longao knew very well that to reach the starry sky dominator realm, one had to devour the primal chaos tablet. As for reaching the half-step starry sky dominator realm, there were only 9 of them in the vast starry sky. And these 9 half-step starry sky dominators didn't rely on their own cultivation to break through. Instead, all 9 of them obtained secret realms and devoured the heart of the secret realms. That was how they broke through to the half-step starry sky dominator realm. In this way, his mother wanting to rely on the spiritual source to reach the half-step starry sky dominator realm was simply nonsense. As Longao guessed, Mu Lin wanted to rely on her own cultivation to break through to the half-step starry sky dominator realm. Opening her eyes and looking at Longao in front of her, Mu Lin said with surprise, "Ao, my cultivation has smoothly broken through to the starry sky immortal realm. However, I still have a quarter of my spiritual source left." Her cultivation had smoothly broken through to the starry sky immortal realm. Longao thought that his mother had merged with all of her spiritual source. He never expected that she still had a quarter of her spiritual source left. Chapter 24:10. His mother's cultivation had broken through to the limit. The remaining quarter of the spirit source, even if it was refined, wouldn't be of much use to his mother. It was almost impossible to rely on the remaining spirit source to break through to half-step star sky dominator. Longao's intuition told him there was no such thing as half-step star sky dominator between peak star sky immortal and star sky dominator. All the secrets were in the secret realms. If he could step into the 9 secret realms, he believed he would know the secret. However, The 9 secret realms were the treasures of the 9 half-step star sky dominator. How could he casually step into them? Longao's face was very solemn. No matter what, the remaining quarter of the spirit source couldn't be lost in vain. If he could transfer it out of his mother's body, not to mention others, he believed he could smoothly break through to Star Sky Immortal from Star Sky Legend. However, although it was simple to think about, it was very difficult to actually do it. Mu Lin was very clear about what Ao was thinking. Even Mu Lin couldn't do anything about the remaining spirit source in her body. Ao, what should I do about the spirit source in my body? She was very helpless. Mother, try and see if you can trap the remaining spirit source in your body. In the future, if your spirit is still devoured by the spiritual chaos stone tablet, perhaps the remaining spirit source will come in handy. Even Longao wasn't completely sure about this. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. If his mother got devoured by the spirit chaos tablet, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, it wouldn't be so smooth every time. If there was a slight mistake, his mother would be in big trouble. Since it was like this, Mu Lin couldn't do anything. Nodding, Mu Lin said, "I have a way." She was very happy. Longao left the Primal Chaos Palace. He had successfully helped his mother wake up. There was no point in staying here. He came to the exit. Longao didn't immediately go out, because there was still spirit power outside. If he got devoured, the consequences would be unimaginable. Before, he relied on the Primal Chaos Seal. Now, he was going to rely on the Primal Chaos Seal. The Seal of Primal Chaos seemed to be the nemesis of mind power. Longao relied on the Seal of Primal Chaos to leave smoothly. It wasn't until they left the spiritual forbidden area that Longao finally let out a sigh of relief. This time, stepping into the forbidden spiritual grounds was really a narrow escape. In the end, he was lucky. Otherwise, he would probably be dead by now. No matter what, his mother was fine. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. Soaring Dragon Empire. News of Longao and Mu Lin's successful return and Mu Lin's safe disappearance spread throughout the empire. Especially Long E. When he saw that his wife was fine, he was so happy that he started crying. The incident this time had really frightened Long E. "Grandma, it's good that you're okay." Speaking of which, it was strange. Long Yun had only been here for less than half a year, yet not only was he able to speak, his intelligence was even not inferior to an adult. This caused many people to feel extremely curious. "Grandma is fine, my good grandson." Since his mother was fine, Longao didn't stay in the empire for long. After leaving, he first went to the first Starry Sky Empire to see what was going on. Gongsun He and Gongsun Ao had been guarding outside the first Starry Sky Empire. No matter who it was, as long as they stepped out, they would kill them without mercy. They would kill one if they saw one, kill two if they saw two. Seeing this situation, Longao was very touched. Whether or not the two of them were sincere in helping him, with their status and strength, it was indeed not easy to do this. "Brother Long, are you okay?" He shook his head. Longao didn't hide anything and told them about his mother's critical condition. However, he didn't tell them the reason because he wouldn't tell anyone about the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, including Gongsun He and Gongsun Ao. So that's how it was. The two of them didn't have the slightest doubt because this kind of thing, Longao definitely wouldn't joke about it casually. "It's good that your mother is fine. The situation here is still the same." Although the people of the first Starry Sky Empire didn't casually come out, before this, Bai Jing had left the first plane once. Bai Jing had left? Longao wasn't the slightest bit surprised by this. He had guessed that Bai Jing would definitely leave this plane, and he also knew where she had gone. "Long Xing, according to my guess, if nothing unexpected happens, Bai Jing's destination this time should be the outer sea of the Sky Martial Continent." Perhaps others didn't know what the Martial Heaven continent represented, but the 9 half-step starry sky rulers were very clear. There was a starry sky ruler overseeing the martial heaven continent. It was one of the 12 starry sky rulers, the god diviner. Bai Jing will definitely return without accomplishing anything. Longao was very confident about this. He was almost certain that the god diviner wouldn't help Bai Jing. If the god diviner was willing to help, why would he help Bai Jing? He could have just dealt with himself and saved himself the trouble. Gongsun he was also surprised by Longao's confidence. He also knew that Longao definitely knew the god diviner. There were already rumors that Longao had a starry sky ruler behind him, and that starry sky ruler seemed to be the god diviner. However, he also knew that this rumor wasn't true. If it was true, why would Longao act like this? It was complete nonsense. However, there was no smoke without fire. It seemed that Longao and the god diviner knew each other. Longao, I want to ask, what is your relationship with the god diviner? If it was someone else, they definitely wouldn't ask such a question. However, Gongsun he wanted to know. After all, the god diviner was the starry sky ruler. The 9 of them stood at the top of the starry sky. They could ignore anyone, but they couldn't erase the 12 starry sky rulers. Gongsun he was very clear that if the 12 starry sky rulers wanted to kill the 9 of them, they could do so in a matter of minutes. Longao smiled. Brother Gongsun, it seems you still don't know my origin. Origin? Gongsun he and Gongsun Ao naturally didn't know about Longao's origins. Let alone the 2 of them, in the entire starry sky, other than the martial heaven continent's people and the god diviner, no one knew about his origins. He was like a mystery. He had suddenly risen by stepping on empires. As for which empire he had come from, or which plane he had come from, no one knew. Chapter 24:11. I'm from the martial heaven continent. Hearing Longao's words, both Gongsun he and Gongsun Ao were shocked. They had never imagined that Longao was from the martial heaven continent. They naturally knew what the martial heaven continent represented. Even half-step sovereigns knew that the martial heaven continent was the god diviner's territory. Could it be that Longao was related to the god diviner? Before the 2 of them could ask, Longao continued, I'm from the martial heaven continent. I've met Senior God Diviner a few times, but I feel that Senior God Diviner won't help Bai Jing. Was that really the case? The 2 of them wouldn't easily believe Longao. However, the 2 of them didn't ask too much because the 2 of them were very clear that if Longao was willing to say, even if they didn't ask, they believed that Longao would say. If Longao didn't want to say more, even if they asked, they were afraid that it would be useless. The 2 of them shrugged helplessly. Brother Long, what do you think we should do now? They couldn't just keep defending like this. With the power and foundation of the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, even if they sealed themselves for tens of thousands of years, they wouldn't suffer any losses. It would be futile. Longao naturally knew what they were thinking. He said, we can't just keep defending like this. Let's retreat first. Both sides began to withdraw their armies. After a short while, outside the first plane, all the Starry Sky Cultivator armies and the Starry Sky Corps slave armies had disappeared without a trace. Even Gongsun Ao had left, returning to the 3rd Starry Sky Empire. No matter what, an empire couldn't go a day without a ruler. Gongsun Ao was the emperor of the 3rd Starry Sky Empire, so all the matters of the empire were handled by him. Only Gongsun he and Longao remained outside the first plane. Brother Long, it seems Bai Jing is afraid of us. She won't come out and fight us head-on. Bai Jing was afraid of them? It was complete nonsense. Of course, Longao didn't believe it because he knew Bai Jing too well. As a half-step Starry Sky ruler, Bai Jing's strength was clear for all to see. Not to mention himself and Gongsun he, even if other half-step Starry Sky rulers came, Bai Jing wouldn't have the slightest fear. This was Bai Jing's strength. As for the reason, Longao was almost certain that Bai Jing did not come out not because she was afraid of the two of them, but because she did not want to be entangled with the two of them. According to Bai Jing's strength, to Bai Jing, the most important thing was the Primal Chaos Tablet. If it could smoothly swallow the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, Bai Jing was willing to give up anything. The Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was the most important thing. However, Longao didn't say much because he was only guessing what Bai Jing meant. As for whether his guess was right or not, who knew? Brother Gongsun, what should we do now? Gongsun, he thought for a moment and said, Brother Long, I have a presumptuous request. I don't know if I should say it or not. Brother Gongsun, please speak. Gongsun, he hesitated, but in the end he said, Brother Long, I trust that you know Bai Jing's strength better than I do. Unless the 12 sovereigns of the starry skies personally descend, no one in the entire universe will be able to defeat Bai Jing. Longao didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. If we are able to obtain the Primal Chaos Tablets and refine them to become sovereigns of the starry skies, then a single Bai Jing won't be enough. Upon hearing Gongsun He's words, Longao wasn't surprised in the slightest, because he had already guessed what Gongsun He meant. In the end, Gongsun He still wanted to obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet. As for whether or not Gongsun He would help him, that wasn't what Gongsun He wanted to do. Would Longao agree? Longao knew very well that if he agreed, even if he searched the entire universe, he wouldn't be able to find a single one of the 12 Primal Chaos Tablet. This was because all 12 of the Primal Chaos Tablets of the plane of Primal Chaos were in his hand. It would be a waste of time. But if he didn't agree, it would be a bit unkind of him. He thought for a moment. Longao's mind suddenly flashed with inspiration. He laughed and said, Brother Gongsun, you are absolutely right. With our current strength, we aren't Bai Jing's match at all. Even if we want to fight to the death, we don't have the qualifications to do so. Upon hearing Longao's words, Gongsun He's heart leapt with joy. Of course he knew what Longao meant. But Gongsun He was an old fox, and he forcibly suppressed the joy in his heart. Gongsun He and Bai Jing both wanted the same thing. They both wanted to obtain the Primal Chaos Tablet. As for what Gongsun He was thinking, Longao knew in his heart. Brother Gongsun, I can help you find the Primal Chaos Tablet. If we find the Primal Chaos Tablets, you will obtain one, and I will obtain one. Of course. Moreover, I can guarantee that no matter what happens, the first Primal Chaos Stone Tablet you obtain will belong to you. As for me obtaining the second Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, as for the third Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, I shouldn't want it. Gongsun He was a very smart person. No matter how many Primal Chaos Tablets he found, it wouldn't be of much use. As long as he could obtain one Primal Chaos Tablet, it would be enough. Brother Gongsun, let's be frank. Although I can obtain the Primal Chaos Tablets, I don't have the slightest confidence in being able to lock onto their position. To be honest, if I could lock onto their position, I wouldn't have waited until now. Gongsun He, who had just been overjoyed, felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over him. This was because he suddenly understood a problem. Just as Longao had said, if he could lock onto the Primal Chaos Tablets, would anyone else be able to obtain them? This was a completely nonsensical matter. But he was still unwilling. This was because in the entire vast universe, it seemed that aside from Longao, there was no second person who could find the Primal Chaos Tablets. Gongsun He was very clear about this point. Otherwise, Gongsun He wouldn't have acted like this. For the Primal Chaos Tablets, he was willing to shed all pretense of cordiality with Bai Jing. Brother Long, I know what you mean. I won't hide it from you. My cultivation has broken through to the half-step starry sky ruler level. If I want to advance further, even relying on mystic realms won't work. There is only one way, and that is the Primal Chaos Tablet. You can say that the primal chaos tablets are my only way out. So no matter what happens, I hope that you can help me obtain the primal chaos tablet. Before Longao could speak, Gongsun he continued, Brother Long, I know that doing this is a bit unkind, but the primal chaos tablets are too important to me. When we become starry sky rulers together, I will repay your kindness. Chapter 24:12. As a half-step starry sky ruler, if Longao still didn't agree to Gongsun He's request, it would be a bit unreasonable. I'll do my best. Gongsun He was overjoyed. The two began to lock onto the positions of the primal chaos tablet. But would it work? All 12 primal chaos tablets had been obtained by Longao. Even if they locked onto them for countless years, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Longao was just putting on an act. Longao was also very clear in his heart that the so-called Gongsun, he was also not sincerely helping him. If he didn't have the primal chaos tablets, it would be a joke for Gongsun He to help him. However, Longao didn't point this out. With the third starry sky empire and Longao withdrawing, everyone in the first plane breathed a sigh of relief. The Sky Marshal Plane. Longao was summoned by the Master God Diviner. He was very curious. Could the Master God Diviner have summoned him because of the primal chaos rock? With his current strength, Longao really didn't want to provoke the Master God Diviner. Outer Sea, inside the Crystal Palace. You're here. Sit. Without the slightest courtesy, Longao sat down and said with a smile, I don't know what Senior has summoned me for this time. No matter what it is, Senior can tell me. The Master God Diviner smiled and said, Longao, I've come to find you mainly because of Bai Jing and the other 9 people. I'm sure you've already guessed that Bai Jing came looking for me to help her lock onto your family's position. The Master God Diviner didn't continue speaking, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Longao naturally already knew this, and he knew that the Master God Diviner definitely hadn't agreed. Otherwise, the Master God Diviner wouldn't have summoned him, and his family would definitely have been locked onto. Many thanks, Senior. For this, Longao really had to thank the Master God Diviner. This was because with the Master God Diviner's valiant strength, and especially his unparalleled calculation ability, it would be a simple matter for him to lock onto an empire's position. However, he was almost certain that Master Clairvoyant would not do such a thing. Longao, you've already met Bai Jing and Gongsun He. Do you know what the 9 half-step dominators of the 9 great starry sky empires are like? What did that mean? Longao had no idea what Master God Diviner was trying to say. Because of that, Longao didn't say anything. He knew that Master God Diviner would continue to speak. The 9 of them are indeed very talented. Strictly speaking, their talent is not much different from ours. If we hadn't obtained the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet and become the ruler of the universe, we wouldn't have been their match. Longao didn't say anything because he didn't know how to respond. The secret realm that the 9 of them obtained is really strange. I entered it before, but I couldn't find any secrets. Senior God Diviner, are you here because of the 9 arcane realms? Longao wasn't a fool. He had already guessed what the divine mathematician meant. The 9 arcane realms were the treasures of the 9 half-step rulers. That's right. My intuition tells me that their 9 arcane realms must be related to the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. If we can find the secret of the 9 arcane realms, it might help me obtain the Primal Chaos energy in the tablet. I see. However, Longao still couldn't figure it out. Senior God Diviner, forgive me for being blunt. Given your strength, it shouldn't be a problem for you to take the 9 arcane realms from the 9 of them. Longao couldn't figure it out because Master God Diviner was a true ruler of the universe. As for Bai Jing and the other 8, they were only half-step rulers. It would be too easy for Master God Diviner to take the 9 arcane realms from the 9 of them. If that was the case, Why didn't Master God Diviner do it? Why did he have to go through the trouble of borrowing his strength? Master God Diviner shook his head and said, "The 9 of them have completely refined the arcane realms. If I take them by force, the arcane realms will disappear with them." I see. Longao finally understood why. However, if even Master God Diviner couldn't find the secret of the arcane realms, how could he? It was simply nonsense. "Senior, you think too highly of me." Master God Diviner smiled and said, "Longao, I'm not asking you to enter the arcane realms to find the secret. I just want to work with you. If I can find the secret of the primal chaos steels in the future, I can guarantee that you will devour a primal chaos steel and become a ruler of the universe." "Senior God Diviner, what should I do?" Longao wasn't the least bit surprised. If it were anyone else, they would have been excited to the extreme. Only Longao wasn't the least bit excited because he knew that there was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. Master God Diviner wouldn't come looking for him for no reason. "I'll talk to you about this later. Right now, you only need to do one thing, and that is to constantly improve your strength. Although I can help you, it won't do you any good. When your cultivation reaches the peak of the starry sky immortal realm, we'll talk about this." Since Master God Diviner didn't want to say more, Longao didn't continue to ask, "Senior, is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave." There were so many things to do that he couldn't stay here forever. As Master God Diviner said, no matter what happened, his top priority now was to find a way to improve his strength as quickly as possible. If he could break through the peak of the starry sky immortal realm, then as long as he didn't encounter the 12 rulers of the universe and the 9 half-step rulers of the universe, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the vast universe. Master God Diviner nodded and said, "I'm fine for now. If you have any trouble, you can come find me. I can help you." "Many thanks." Longao certainly wouldn't trouble Master God Diviner casually, because there's always a cause and effect. If he borrowed Master God Diviner's power this time, he would definitely return the favor in the future. Especially when facing Master God Diviner, it would be even more troublesome. After watching Longao leave, Yigudu's figure appeared. Yigudu's face was very gloomy as he said, "Father, the 9 great secret realms must be related to our primal chaos tablets. Can Longao really help us find the secrets of the 9 great secret realms?" Yigudu certainly didn't believe it. Although his father valued Longao very much, he didn't put Longao in his eyes from the beginning to the end. If it weren't for his father's deterrence, he would have already killed Longao. Again, he couldn't stand Longao's domineering attitude. However, Master God Diviner said, "I'm not completely sure, but Longao is a variable. I can only bet on him." Chapter 24:13. Would betting on Longao really succeed? Regardless of whether or not Master God Diviner believed it, Yigudu definitely didn't. The reason was simple. A person who couldn't even be trapped by the primal chaos stone tablet was proof enough. "Father, Longao has already offended Bai Jing. If nothing unexpected happens, Bai Jing won't let the matter rest. What should we do?" Yigudu's meaning was simple. He definitely wanted to use someone else to do his dirty work. If Bai Jing could successfully kill Longao, that would be the best outcome. But if his father acted, not to mention Bai Jing, even the other rulers of the universe wouldn't be able to kill Longao. This was his father's power. You could say that. If his father gave the order, no one in the universe would dare disobey. Because in the entire universe, only his father was the ruler of the universe, who knew how long it would take for the other rulers to truly refine the primal chaos stone tablet. If his father could truly obtain the primal chaos energy within the primal chaos stone tablet, then he would truly be the sole ruler of the universe. The key was the secret of the primal chaos stone tablet. Master God Diviner shook his head. Let's not interfere. I trust that Longao won't come to me for help. Was that really the case? Yigudu didn't see it that way. In his view, if Longao had nowhere else to go, then the only way was to ask his father for help. There seemed to be no other way. But Yigudu didn't say much. He hoped that this would happen. As long as his father didn't interfere, then things would be much easier. He trusted that Bai Jing's power would be more than enough to deal with Longao. Yigudu was very confident in this. With regards to Bai Jing's strength, Yigudu naturally knew what was going on. At this time, Master God Diviner said, "Gudu, although I won't interfere, you can't interfere either. If I find out, I'll take away your primal chaos stone tablet." "I know, father." Yigudu was furious. If it weren't for his father's power, he would have suppressed him long ago. Yigudu was extremely ambitious, but he was also very sinister and cunning. For so many years, Master God Diviner had never mentioned the primal chaos stone tablet, and neither had Yigudu. If Master God Diviner had not taken the initiative to hand over the primal chaos tablet, Yigudu would not have taken the initiative to ask for it. From this, it could be seen what kind of person Yigudu was. Leaving the sky martial continent, Longao's expression instantly turned grave. Without strength, he had to take in people and restrict them. If it weren't for the fact that the Empire was keeping him in check, Longao wouldn't have feared Master God Diviner in the slightest. The Primal Chaos Palace could disregard everything. As long as the Primal Chaos Palace was in his hands, he believed that even the divine mathematician would not be able to step into the Primal Chaos Palace to lock onto his location. However, the most helpless thing right now was that he was still unable to truly control the Chaos Palace. It was very passive. It was very passive. In fact, if Master God Diviner made a move against his empire, he would be in an even more passive position, and the consequences would be too horrible to contemplate. There were always accidents. Right now, Master God Diviner seemed to be on good terms with him. But who knew when he would turn on him? And that was something Longao didn't want to see happen. Strength. In the end, it was because he was not strong enough. In this vast universe, where people ate people, as long as one's fist was strong enough, one would have the upper hand. Otherwise, even if one died, no one would care. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. The more he thought about it, the more afraid he felt. Longao's bottom line was the Empire. If something happened to the Empire, he didn't even dare to think about it. Longao knew very well that the only thing he could do right now was to increase his strength as quickly as possible. Perhaps someone in the Empire could truly refine the Primal Chaos Tablet and become the ruler of the universe. In that case, before he could control the primal chaos power within the tablet, Master God Diviner would not be able to do anything to him or the Empire. Gongsun He and Longao temporarily separated. After all, they couldn't always be together for the sake of finding the primal chaos tablet. It was a bit unrealistic. Gongsun He didn't force Longao, because he knew that if Longao could obtain the primal chaos tablet in a short period of time, he would have done so long ago. Why wait until now? He was simply asking for trouble. The news that the No. 1 Empire had been forced to seal its plane by two forces had long since spread throughout the universe. You could say that. Now, the No. 1 Empire had lost all face, becoming a joke in everyone's mouth. But even so, the No. 1 Empire kept its mouth shut, as if this matter had nothing to do with them. It really lived up to the saying that a shameless tree would die without a doubt, a shameless person was invincible. Since when did the No. 1 Empire become so shameless? In the beginning, everyone thought that with Bai Jing's sudden arrival, the strength and status of the No. 1 Starry Sky Empire would definitely rise to a higher level. However, the result made everyone's jaws drop. No one would have thought that the No. 1 Starry Sky Empire would not even have the courage to fight with Bai Jing. It seemed that the No. 1 Empire was truly afraid. the number one empire in the vast universe, and also the most powerful empire, had fallen to such a state. It was sad, a great sadness. As the number one empire, the number three empire, and Longao's battle began, the other empires, including the number two empire, watched from the sidelines, waiting to reap the benefits. It was just that the number one empire, the number three empire, and Longao's battle had not yet begun, which made the other empires very depressed. The 7 major star empires certainly wanted to watch the show, but the other star empires, especially the small star empires, were helpless to the extreme. Because every time there was a war between star empires, it would shake the entire vast starry sky. At that time, who knows how many star empires would be destroyed. However, if an empire was destroyed, then another empire would rise. It could be said that some were happy and some were worried. No one knew what would happen next. As for whether the number one empire, the number three empire, and Longao would start a war, no one knew. In the vast starry sky, the winds and clouds changed. Longao returned to the soaring dragon empire smoothly. As soon as he returned, Longing couldn't wait to say, "Seventh brother, things are going to be troublesome. I heard that the number one empire and the number two empire have joined forces with other empires to deal with us. If the number three empire is afraid and forces us to leave, then we will be in big trouble." Chapter 24:14. Longao was not surprised at all. After Bai Jing failed to find the divine mathematician, she certainly would not give up. Just relying on the strength of the number one starry sky empire, once they started a war, the final result would be a lose-lose situation. The other starry sky empires would then reap the benefit. Would Bai Jing do such a thing? Not to mention Bai Jing, no one would want to see such a situation. With Bai Jing's strength and deterrence, the other starry sky empires would certainly not dare to refuse. If the ancestors of the other starry sky empires all appeared, Bai Jing's deterrence would not work. It was a very troublesome matter. If the 8 starry sky empires joined forces, the 3rd starry sky empire would certainly be wary. The current situation was completely different from before. If the location of the empire was discovered, the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao's face was very dignified. The current situation was indeed very troublesome for him. "Seventh brother, you don't have to worry about the empire for the time being." How could Longao not know what his big brother meant? The empire was now very secretive. As long as there were no accidents, the 8 starry sky empires would hardly be able to find his location. "Big brother, from now on, no one is allowed to take a step out of the empire. Anyone who violates the order will be killed without mercy." Longing was very clear about the seriousness of the matter. Nodding, he said, "I know what to do. Seventh brother, you have to be extra careful." "I understand." Longao did not immediately leave the empire, because the current situation was indeed very special. Without the help of the divine mathematician, Bai Jing would certainly not give up. This time, Bai Jing joined forces with the other starry sky empires. It was a completely different concept from before. No matter what, Bai Jing was still a half-step starry sky ruler. He had to think of a way as soon as possible. Otherwise, the longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. It was very depressing. In the courtyard, the current situation was to cultivate in seclusion, hoping to break through the starry sky legend and starry sky immortal realm as soon as possible. Longao did not leave the empire. Instead, he chose to cultivate in seclusion. Winter went and spring came. In the blink of an eye, 18 years passed quietly. Now Long Yun had become a young man. He looked much more ferocious than Longao. It was very strange. When Long Yun was born, his cultivation base had already reached starry sky legend. According to normal circumstances, After 18 years of cultivation, Long Yun should have a breakthrough. Even if he could not reach the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, he should be able to reach the peak of Starry Sky Legend Realm. But what was the result? For an entire 18 years, Long Yun's cultivation did not improve in the slightest. As for what the situation was, even Long Ao didn't know. However, Long Ao was not worried in the slightest. His son was able to break through the Starry Sky Legend Realm at birth. It was easy to imagine how talented his son was. In the entire courtyard, only Long Ao and Long Yun remained. In these 18 years, other than cultivating every day, Long Ao spent the rest of his time guiding Long Yun in his cultivation and cultivating various heaven-defying martial skills. Not only that, Long Ao even wanted to pass the 9-revolution primal chaos formula to his son because among all the heaven-defying martial arts and techniques, the 9-revolution primal chaos formula was the most powerful. But what was the result? Whether it was Long Yun or the others, they were all unable to cultivate the 9-revolution primal chaos formula at all. This was also something that Long Ao could not figure out. As for the Primal Chaos Axe and Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, Long Yun was unable to inherit them. Father, we have been in seclusion for 18 years. The vast starry sky outside is completely chaotic. If we don't take action, before Long Yun could finish speaking, Long Ao directly stopped him and said, Yun don't meddle in this matter. Originally, he thought that relying on his talent, he could smoothly break through from the Starry Sky Legend Realm to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm within 18 years. However, he never expected that after decades of continuous cultivation, he actually did not have the slightest breakthrough. From the Starry Sky Legend Realm to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm, he was only one step away. Only this one step was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. No matter how he cultivated in seclusion, he was still unable to take this one step. Seeing that his father did not want to say more, Long Yun shrugged helplessly. Father, I want to go out and gain experience. If it were other fathers, they might not let their children go out and gain experience, especially in this vast starry sky where people eat people. If they went out to gain experience, there was a 95% chance that they would die. But if it was Long Ao, he did not think so. If he did not go out to gain experience, he would never grow up. Back then, he also relied on life and death experiences step by step to reach where he was today. Otherwise, he would not have everything he had today. Yun I won't stop you, but you must remember one thing. As a man, there are things he can do and things he can't do. He would rather die standing than live kneeling. A man would rather die standing than live kneeling. Of course, Long Yun knew what happened to his father back then. From a family that thought he was trash, he walked step by step to where he was now. His father had experienced too much. It was precisely because of this that he wanted to go out and gain experience. Father, I will remember. Long Yun knelt down, respectfully kowtowed 3 times, then got up and left quickly. Dust. Aoshua walked in. She seemed to be very anxious, but more than that, she was worried. She said, Yun left to gain experience. As a father, you don't know how to take care of him. If something happens to Yun what should we do? Long Ao smiled and said casually, Aoshua, it's not a bad thing for Yun to go out and gain experience. Otherwise, Yun will never grow up. Even so, Yun is still young. He's not even 18 years old this year. Even if his cultivation has successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Legend Realm, the vast starry sky is still full of dangers. Especially if Yun meets people from the 8 great starry sky empires. It's even more dangerous. I'm scared. Thinking that the 8 great starry sky empires would fight if they met her son, Aoshua was extremely worried. She immediately said, No, I have to go find him. I can't let anything happen to my son. Before Long Ao could speak, Mu Lin came in from outside and said anxiously, "My precious grandson went out. Ao, why don't you hurry and find him? If anything happens to Yun, I will not forgive you." Without giving Longao any chance to speak, Mu Lin said, "Aoshue, follow me now. With my current strength, I believe that there are not many people in the vast starry sky who can hurt us. Nothing can happen to my precious son. Hurry and go." Aoshue and Mu Lin hit it off. One was afraid that something would happen to her son, and the other was afraid that something would happen to her grandson. Longao had a headache. He said helplessly, "Mother, Aoshue, sit down and listen to me first." "Humph, Ao, if we wait for you to sit down and talk, something might happen to my precious son." Chapter 24:15. Longao was depressed to the extreme. Whether it was Aoshue or his mother, they both doted on their child too much. Very helpless. Longao sighed deeply and said helplessly, "Mother, Aoshue, what Yun needs is strength. Otherwise, he will never be able to grow. In these 18 years, Yun's cultivation has not improved at all. Can't you see the clues?" Gradually, Aoshue and Mu Lin calmed down. The two of them knew very well that Longao was right. However, Yun was still their treasure. Nothing must happen to him. However, since things had already come to this, the two of them had no other choice. "Mother, Aoshue, I have already sent the ancient Sky Corp's slave to follow Yun. If anything happens, I believe that with the Starry Sky Corp's slave overseeing it, Yun shouldn't have any problems." Starry Sky Corp's slave? Hearing that the Starry Sky Corp's slave had left with Yun, both Mu Lin and Aoshue heaved a sigh of relief. In the end, the two of them still chose to leave, and not leave the soaring dragon empire. The vast starry sky was boundless. Even if they went out to search for Yun's traces, wanting to find a trace of a person in the vast sea of people was simply like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was almost impossible. In fact, Longao was also very worried. Otherwise, he would not have let the ancient Sky Corp's slave follow Long Yun. A full 18 years. The vast starry sky was already very chaotic. Especially the 8 great starry sky empires, they did not choose to give up at all. For so many years, they had been searching for Longao's traces. Not to mention the other starry sky empires, even the 3rd starry sky empire was also looking for Longao's traces everywhere. Longao seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. The 3rd starry sky empire. Gongsun Ao said gloomily, "Old ancestor, we have already searched for a full 18 years, but we still haven't found any traces of Longao. Did he go to find the primal chaos tablet himself and set us up?" Gongsun he nodded. As for Longao, he did not expect such a thing to happen. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't angry. Before this, he had helped Longao so much and even completely shed all pretense of cordiality with Bai Jing. But in the end, not only did Longao not help him lock onto the Chaos Tablet, but he had also completely disappeared. Only a fool would believe that there was nothing fishy going on. It was a very helpless matter. Right now, no one could find any trace of Longao. If this continued, who knew what would happen? Increase our efforts to find Longao's traces. I don't believe that Longao will really disappear from the world. Gong's son he helplessly asked, "Elder, if Longao is really looking for the Chaos Tablet himself, what should we do?" This was the most important thing. Gongsun Ao was very clear about the current situation. Nothing was important to the old ancestor. The most important thing was that no matter what, he had to find the Chaos Stone Tablet. He originally thought that Longao would help the old ancestor find the primal Chaos Stone Tablet. But he never thought that things would reach this step. It was a very painful matter. Gongsun he thought for a moment before coldly replying, "Before this, I had truly treated Longao as a friend. As long as he could help me obtain the Chaos Tablet, I would do everything in my power to help him obtain the Chaos Tablet. Furthermore, I would not hesitate to shed all pretense of cordiality with Bai Jing. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. The more he thought about it, the colder he became. He wanted nothing more than to tear Longao into pieces. If Longao doesn't want to treat me as a friend, then don't blame me for not showing mercy. Just as Gong's son he finished speaking, a figure suddenly appeared. It was none other than Longao. Seeing Longao, whether it was Gong's son he or Gong's son Ao, they were incomparably shocked. Longao, who had disappeared for 18 years, suddenly appeared now. What was going on? Brother Long, where did you go? Although he was furious, Gong's son he still held it in. This was because he still treated Longao as a friend. He hoped that Longao could help him find the primal Chaos Stone Tablet. As for what Gong's son he was thinking, how could Longao not know? He smiled. Longao didn't hide anything and said, Brother Gong's son, I've been staying in the Empire to cultivate. To be honest, I've only just broken through to Star Sky Legend. I wanted to use this time to break through to Star Sky Immortal, but... Longao didn't continue speaking here. But the meaning in his words was very clear. Longao was very helpless about his own cultivation. He had always been very confident in his talent. But this time, he didn't know what was going on. After 18 years, he still hadn't broken through. Star Sky Legend? Gong's son he and Gong's son Ao could clearly sense that Longao was still a Star Sky Legend. He was no different from the Longao of 18 years ago. If a Star Sky cultivator went into seclusion, not to mention 8 or 10 years, even hundreds or thousands of years would be a matter of minute. Without a trace of doubt, Gong's son he's anger disappeared without a trace. Although Longao wanted to help him find the primal Chaos Stone Tablet, he couldn't stop him from cultivating in seclusion. In this vast universe, power was everything. If you had power, you could do whatever you wanted. If you didn't have power, then sorry, you couldn't move an inch. Brother Long, I see. This isn't your fault. I'll help you break through later. Longao didn't think so. He couldn't break through the current realm even if he cultivated in seclusion. It was impossible for Gong's son he to help him break through to the Starry Sky Immortal realm. Not to mention Gong's son he, even the divine mathematician, might not be able to do it. Brother Gong's son, for the rest of the time, I'll do my best to help you find the primal Chaos Stone Tablet. However, I can't guarantee that we'll be able to find the primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Gong's son he's heart was filled with joy. This was what he wanted to see the most, but he was too embarrassed to say it. Longao hadn't broken through to Star Sky Immortal yet, but he still came to help him find the primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Gong's son he was very grateful. He smiled and said, Brother Long, I'm a very realistic person. You treat me well, and I'll treat you well. You and I are friends, and I won't hide it from you. Now that the 8 Star Sky Empires have joined forces to deal with you, no matter what happens, I won't stand by your side. Gong's son he expressed his stance first. Longao smiled. Since he chose to leave the Empire, he wasn't afraid of the 8 Star Sky Empires. He wasn't afraid in the past, he wasn't afraid now, and he wouldn't be afraid in the future. Even if the number 1 Star Sky Empire's old ancestor Bai Jing came, he wouldn't be afraid. This was Longao. Otherwise, he wouldn't be Longao. Chapter 24:16. Gong's son he knew a thing or two about Longao's character. Brother Long, what should we do now? Gong's son he was very clear about the current situation. It was all because of Bai Jing's deterrence. Otherwise, the other cosmic empires might not have chosen to join forces against Longao. Nothing must happen to Longao. For the primal chaos steel, not to mention falling out with Bai Jing, Even if he had to fight Bai Jing to the death, he would not hesitate. Whether Gongsun he was sincerely helping him or not, the current situation was very unfavorable for him. No matter what, if he had the help of Gongsun he and the Third Cosmic Empire, the situation would be a little better. However, the 8 cosmic empires joining forces was indeed a troublesome matter. Brother Gongsun, if you can deter the other 7 cosmic empires. I believe that with you, the other 7 cosmic empires might not join forces with the first cosmic empire. Even the first cosmic empire could not do anything. If it was him, he would not be able to do it. What he could not do did not mean that Gongsun he could not do it. Gongsun He's strength was there. Even if he was not as strong as Bai Jing, he was not far off. What did this mean? As long as Gongsun he gave the order, the other cosmic empires would not dare to join forces with the first cosmic empire due to Gongsun He's strength. How could Gongsun he not know Longao's intention? If it was someone else, Gongsun he would not agree. Only Longao. Because of the primal chaos steel, Gongsun he did not hesitate at all. He said, "Brother Long, no problem. I will do it immediately." Gongsun he was also very fast. He did as he said. A short while later, the entire vast starry sky was spreading the news. The ancestor of the Third Cosmic Empire, Gongsun he, had informed the other 7 cosmic empires that if anyone dared to join forces with the First Cosmic Empire, the Third Cosmic Empire would flatten that empire. If Gongsun he and Bai Jing did not come, the 9 cosmic empires' strength would be about the same. It would not be easy to destroy each other. However, the situation now was completely different. Whether it was Bai Jing or Gongsun he, their strength was there for all to see. Under their deterrence, no one dared to go against Bai Jing and Gongsun he. There was only one outcome for anyone who dared to go against them, and that was to be destroyed by the 2 without any chance of survival. This was the power of a half-step starry sky ruler. The first starry sky empire also received the news. Bai Jing, in particular, was shocked. Gongsun he's actions showed that he really wanted to shed all pretenses of cordiality with her. In the main hall, Bai Jing's face was extremely gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. Bai Hua wanted to speak a few times, but in the end, he held himself back. At this moment, it was clear that the old master was infuriated to the extreme. Offending the old master at this moment was akin to asking for trouble. The 3 starry sky eagles and Bai Hua looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. The 4 of them didn't expect Gongsun he to make such a move. Was it worth it for Gongsun he to do this for a Longao? If it were them, they would definitely not do so. After an unknown period of time, Bai Jing said coldly, "Gongsun he doesn't know what's good for him. I can't let him live." Bai Jing was helpless to the extreme as well. If it were anyone else, he could have killed them in a matter of minutes. But Gongsun he was the only one whose strength was similar to his. It was almost impossible for him to kill Gongsun he. If Gongsun he's 3rd secret state could be destroyed, then even if Gongsun he was still a half-step starry sky ruler, he wouldn't be able to fight against him. The 4 of them still did not dare to speak. A battle of the old master's level was not something they could interfere with. Neither did they dare to offend Gongsun he. If Gongsun he wanted to kill them, it would be a piece of cake. What do the 4 of you think? What did the 4 of them think? The 3 starry sky eagles were helpless. Under such circumstances, it wasn't appropriate for them to speak. However, Bai Hua's situation was different. Bai Hua knew what the 3 starry sky eagles were thinking. No matter how unwilling he was in his heart, he still braced himself and said, "Old master, according to my guess, Gongsun he has been keeping a low profile for so many years. But all of a sudden, he spread the news that he's going to help Longao. There must be something fishy going on." "Fishy?" "Continue." Bai Jing's mind seemed to be in a mess. He didn't seem like Bai Jing at all. The onlooker sees more clearly than the person involved. Old Master, if I'm not mistaken, Longao should have already appeared in the third Starry Sky Empire. Continue. Continue? Bai Hua was helpless. He didn't know what was going on with the Old Master, but he still said, Old Master, we all know that Gongsun he is going to help Longao not out of kindness, but because of the Chaos Tablet. For 18 years, Longao seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. Gongsun he has remained neutral. Bai Hua didn't continue after saying this, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Bai Jing was only temporarily confused. After a short period of calming down, Bai Jing had a rough idea of what was going on. He didn't have the slightest doubt. He felt that Bai Hua's guess was correct. If Longao hadn't suddenly appeared, Gongsun he wouldn't have done this even if he was beaten to death. He had dealt with Gongsun he for so many years, and he knew Gongsun he too well. If it weren't for the Chaos Tablet, Gongsun he definitely wouldn't have helped Longao. If that was the case, it wasn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, they had been looking for Longao for 18 years without success. Now, Longao had finally been found. Bai Jing had the same intention as Gongsun he. He didn't care about Longao's life or death. He only cared about one thing, and that was the Chaos Tablet. If he wanted to break through the half-star Sky Dominator level and become a Star Dominator level, he couldn't rely on a mystic realm alone. There was only one way, and that was to find the Chaos Tablet and refine it. However, it was almost impossible to find the Chaos Tablet on his own. Only Longao could. Otherwise, Gongsun he wouldn't have helped Longao so much. It was obvious what was going on. Bai Hua, what do you think the Old Master should do? Old Master, Longao must be in the Third Cosmic Kingdom. We don't need to fight with the Third Cosmic Kingdom. We only need to do one thing, and that is to do everything we can to find Longao and deal with Longao. As long as the Old Master can find the Chaos Tablet, both Longao and Gongsun, he won't be a threat. Chapter 24:17. Lock on to Longao? It was easy to think about but difficult to do. If it was easy to lock on to Longao, they wouldn't have to wait so many years. Countless people wanted to deal with Longao but no one was able to kill Longao. This was enough to explain the problem. Bai Jing knew the situation was impatient but the longer it dragged on, the worse it would be for him. He had to end the battle quickly. He had to lock on to Longao as soon as possible. If Longao helped Gongsun he get the Primal Chaos Tablet, everything would be too late. Bai Hua, what should we do now? Bai Hua shrugged helplessly. Old Ancestor, I don't know what to do now. Bai Hua thought that if the Old Ancestor used the Secret Realm, he would definitely be able to deal with Longao. But the result? Bai Hua never thought that someone would come out of nowhere and stop the Old Ancestor from dealing with Longao. If it was someone else, the Old Ancestor wouldn't have any fear. Only the other 8 half-step Star Sky rulers. Gongsun he also had his own secret. If Gongsun he insisted on helping Longao, things would be very troublesome. Although the first secret realm was slightly stronger than the third secret realm, it was almost impossible for the first secret realm to suppress the third secret realm. This was the reason why the Old Ancestor was the most depressed. If it wasn't for this, the Old Ancestor would have already made a move. How could Bai Jing not know what Bai Hua meant? This was also the reason why he was the most depressed. If he wanted to deal with Longao, he had to deal with Gongsun he first. However, Gongsun he was a half-step Star Sky ruler with a secret realm. It was almost impossible for him to deal with Gongsun he. It was precisely because Longao had Gongsun he's help that he was fearless. What should he do? He couldn't think of a solution no matter how much he thought about it. As a half-step Star Sky ruler with the help of a secret realm, He had no way to deal with a small star sky legend. If this matter spread, it would be embarrassing. Bai Hua and Bai Jing's guesses were not entirely correct. At the very least, Long Ao was no longer in the so-called Third Starry Sky Empire. Long Ao had already promised Gongsun He that he would help him find the Primal Chaos Tablet. However, he didn't say when he would start. After all, there were still many things to be done, especially in the First Starry Sky Empire. If you don't go to him, he will definitely come to you. As long as they did not deal with White Crystal and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire, it would always be a big problem. It was a very helpless matter. Long Ao didn't know what to do either. If he were to rely on his own strength alone, he and the entire Soaring Dragon Empire would not be a match for Bai Jing and the number 1 Starry Sky Empire. There was no doubt about it. Long Ao was well aware of his own strength. He was also extremely depressed about his own talent and strength. He originally thought that, according to his talent, he should have been able to smoothly break through to the Starry Sky Immortal Realm from the Starry Sky Legend Realm in 18 years. However, he did not expect that after 18 years, there was still no breakthrough. A low-level plain. There was a huge, solitary mountain peak. At the peak of the mountain, Long Ao sat quietly at the peak of the mountain, facing the wind. His mind was thinking of all sorts of ways to deal with the number 1 Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing. However, no matter how he thought about it, he still couldn't come up with any ideas. No matter what, the number 1 Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing were too strong to the point of being abnormal. In the vast Starry Sky, other than the 12 rulers of Starry Sky, Bai Jing was the true number 1. Even if Gongsun He were to compare with Bai Jing, in terms of strength, Gongsun He wouldn't be a match for Bai Jing. This was Bai Jing's true strength. At this moment, a figure flashed quickly. Long Ao wasn't surprised at all because the person who came was none other than Long Ming, the so-called ruler of Starry Sky. Long Ao, why are you looking for me? Long Ming had been in closed-door cultivation. If not for Long Ao looking for him, he wouldn't have cared about anyone, because in the current situation, there was nothing more important than refining the Primal Chaos Tablet. Long Ao and Long Ming's relationship was always there. As long as Long Ming didn't really refine the Primal Chaos Tablet, the two could send each other messages and inform each other. Long Ming was very curious. He didn't know why Long Ao suddenly looked for him. It was very depressing because he knew Long Ao's character too well. No matter what happened, based on their current situation, he believed that Long Ao wouldn't come looking for him. So what was it? Long Ming was very curious. Long Ming, I want to make a deal with you. I don't know if you're willing? A deal? Long Ming was very vigilant. Others might not know Long Ao, but he was no stranger to Long Ao. If Long Ao didn't have some ability, he wouldn't have grown to this point. Tell me about it. Long Ming did not agree, nor did he refuse, because he still did not know what the so-called deal Long Ao was talking about was. If it was beneficial to him, then there was no problem at all. If it was not beneficial to him, then sorry, he would not agree even if he was beaten to death. How could Long Ao not know what Long Ming was thinking in his heart? Now Long Ao really hoped that Long Ming wasn't the so-called ruler of time and space. He had lost a good brother for nothing. But things had already come to this, and it wasn't something he could change. Long Ao cursed himself in his heart, then quickly calmed down and said, "If you help me destroy the First Starry Sky Empire and White Crystal, then I'll help you control the Primal Chaos Tablet." Long Ming was shocked because destroying White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire would be a matter of minutes for him in the future. As long as he could refine the Primal Chaos Tablet and become the ruler of the Starry Sky, it would happen sooner or later. What truly shocked Long Ming was that Long Ao could help him control the Primal Chaos energy in the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Of course, He knew what the primal chaos energy in the primal chaos stone tablet meant. If he could truly control the primal chaos tablet, then no matter who it was, no one would be a match for him. Then, in the entire starry sky, he would be the true number one. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want to control the primal chaos tablet. But Long Ming didn't believe Longao. There were 12 rulers of the starry sky, and none of them could control the primal chaos tablet. Even the oracle couldn't do it. Longao still hadn't devoured the primal chaos tablet. If he said that he could help him control the primal chaos tablet, no one would believe it. It was complete nonsense. Chapter 24:18. How can I believe you? Long Ming was on high alert. If Long Ming believed Longao so easily, he wouldn't be Long Ming. Longao knew what Long Ming was thinking, of course. Long Ming, I'm sure you know what kind of person I am. I never boast. You just need to tell me if you agree or not. I don't want to say or listen to anything else. Long Ming knew Longao's personality all too well. Longao wouldn't speak casually if he wasn't confident. If it were anything else, Long Ming would have chosen to believe him. But when it came to the Chaos Steel, Long Ming would never believe him. That was too ridiculous. Someone who couldn't even refine a Chaos Steel was boasting shamelessly here. If he chose to believe him, he'd be a fool. He refused without hesitation. Longao, first of all, I don't believe you. Second, I can't kill Bai Jing with my current strength. This was the truth. If Long Ming could successfully refine the Chaos Steel and become a ruler of the stars, killing Bai Jing and destroying the number 1 cosmic empire would be a matter of minutes. But now, the situation was completely different. Long Ming had yet to successfully refine the primal chaos tablet and become a starry sky ruler. It was almost impossible for him to do so with his current strength. Long Ming was well aware of this fact. Long Ming seemed to want to say something else, but Longao vanished. He really didn't give Long Ming any chance to speak. Long Ming was completely dumbfounded. Just now, he just wanted to test Longao, to see if Longao could help him control the primal chaos power of the primal chaos stone tablet. But the result? He'd gone too far this time. Before he could finish his test, Longao had vanished without a trace. Long Ming was a little helpless, but more than that, he was furious. He'd long forgotten Longao's kindness. If not for Longao's help, he'd be dead already. How would he have had the chance to refine the Chaos Steel? Longao, come out. We can have a good chat. Just as Long Ming finished speaking, Longao's figure appeared once again. With the primal Chaos Temple present, Longao could ignore anyone. Not to mention Long Ming, even Master God Diviner could be ignored. This was the strength of the primal Chaos Palace. He was very disgusted. Longao said impatiently, Long Ming, it's best if you don't play games with me. I can tell you clearly that these are of no use to me. If you don't want to, I'm sure the other rulers will. Long Ming's face was very gloomy. It was as ugly as it could get. If it was in the past, this would be the case. But now, he was the ruler of time and space. Even if he hadn't truly refined the Chaos Tablet, his status was still there. No one would dare to do such a thing to him. Except for Longao. However, Long Ming could not do anything about it. This was because Longao had too many secrets. Even he did not know much about them back then, especially the Starry Sky Divine artifact that Longao possessed. No matter how angry he was. In the end, Long Ming suppressed his anger and said, Longao, I can promise you that as long as you help me obtain the chaos power in the Chaos Tablet, I will help you deal with White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. Long Ming did not care about the life and death of White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. What he wanted was the chaos power in the Chaos Tablet. He knew very well what it meant to be able to control the chaos power in the Chaos Tablet. Long Ming, it's decided. As long as you can help me destroy White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire, I will immediately help you obtain the Chaos Power in the Chaos Tablet. Before Long Ming could speak, Longao continued. Long Ming, I will wait for your good news. Just as he finished speaking, Longao's figure disappeared without a trace. This time, Longao did not appear. Long Ming was very distressed. With his current strength, it was almost impossible to destroy White Crystal and the First Starry Sky Empire. However, if he could obtain the Chaos Power in the Chaos Tablet, everything would be worth it. However, Long Ming was not a fool. He could not completely believe Longao's words. What should he do? The First Starry Sky Empire. Bai Jing was still very helpless because he could not think of any way to deal with Longao. In terms of strength, Longao was not a concern. However, Longao had a powerful cosmic artifact. Even he could not lock onto Longao's position. If he had not experienced it himself, he would not have believed that such a thing could happen. If he could obtain the Starry Sky Divine Tool from Longao's hands, then not to mention the 12 Starry Sky Dominators, he believed that he would be invincible in the vast Starry Sky. If he could resist the 12 Starry Sky Dominators, then he could run amok in the entire vast Starry Sky. However, if he did not kill Longao, how could he obtain the cosmic artifact? Longao was not a fool. As long as he hid in the cosmic artifact, Bai Jing would not be able to do anything. He was very helpless. Who is it? Looking at the young man who suddenly appeared in front of him, Bai Jing was shocked to the extreme. Others might not know Long Ming, but how could he not know? The 9 half-step rulers of the universe had met the 12 rulers of the universe. Moreover, Long Ming did not hide his aura. Greetings, ruler of time and starry sky. He bowed respectfully. No matter how strong Bai Jing was, whether or not he was the ancestor of the First Starry Sky Empire, he was still not enough to face a true ruler of the universe. Unless Bai Jing could devour the Chaos Tablet and refine it to become a ruler of the universe, then he would have the capital. However, was that possible? Long Ming's face was very cold. I came to find you this time because I have an agreement with Longao. Longao? The ruler of time and starry sky had a relationship with Longao? This was the first time Bai Jing had heard of this. If this was true, then this matter was really serious. The oracle was not willing to help him, and the ruler of time and starry sky had a relationship with Longao. It was hard to imagine what kind of person Longao was. How could he be related to 2 rulers of the universe? If Bai Jing knew that Longao was not only related to the oracle and Long Ming, but also other rulers of the universe, who knew what Bai Jing would think? Please speak clearly, Your Excellency. Bai Jing was almost certain that the ruler of time and starry sky had not come to kill him. Otherwise, the other party would not talk nonsense with him. However, he did not relax in the slightest because he still could not be sure why the ruler of time and starry sky had come this time. Bai Jing was ready. As long as the ruler of time and starry sky wanted to deal with him, he would not hesitate to hide in the first secret realm. Chapter 24:19. Longao asked me to kill you. Bai Jing wasn't worried at all when Long Ming said that. It was still the same sentence. If the ruler of time and starry sky really wanted to kill him, he wouldn't have wasted so much time talking to him. After all, the ruler of time and starry sky could kill him in a matter of minutes. Senior, you won't do that, right? Long Ming smiled. Of course he wouldn't do that, because there was no doubt that he still didn't know what Longao was thinking. If Longao could really control the chaos power in the Chaos Stone Tablet, he wouldn't have refined it. Kill with a borrowed knife. Longao definitely wanted to use his power to destroy the First Starry Sky Empire and Bai Jing. He would really be a fool if he were to really make a move. After thinking about it, Long Ming decided to beat him at his own game. That was exactly why. Long Ming didn't hide anything. He recounted everything that had happened before, including Long Ao's plan to kill someone with a borrowed knife. He also told Long Ming all of his method. After listening to everything, Bai Jing was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that the ruler of time and starry sky wasn't Long Ao's friend, but Long Ao's enemy. If that was the case, then things would be much easier. Although he couldn't lock onto Long Ao's position, it didn't mean that Long Ming couldn't lock onto Long Ao's position. Long Ao's strength wasn't terrifying, but the truly terrifying thing was the Starry Sky Spirit artifact in Long Ao's hands. Lord Ruler, I don't have any problems with that, but the biggest problem now isn't Long Ao's strength, but Long Ao's Starry Sky artifact. It's very difficult for us to lock onto his position. Long Ming nodded. Of course, he knew what Bai Jing was worried about. Long Ao's Starry Sky artifact was difficult to lock onto, let alone him. Bai Jing, use your first secret realm to trap Long Ao. Lord Ruler, to be honest, Long Ao now has Gong's son he support. If I use the first secret realm, Gong's son he will definitely use the third secret realm. By then, we won't be able to trap Long Ao. This was what Bai Jing was most depressed about. For the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, Gong's son he was willing to shed all pretense of cordiality with him and help Long Ao. He couldn't do anything to Gong's son he. However, Long Ming smiled and said, "Leave Gong's son he to me. We'll deal with Long Ao together later." Yes. Third Starry Sky Empire. Gong's son he had been waiting for Long Ao to return so that he could help him search for the Chaos Tablets. However, he didn't rush him at all. No matter what, Long Ao had his own personal matters to attend to. After Long Ao was done, it wouldn't be too late to help him. After waiting for so many years, waiting a little longer was nothing. Who is it? Gong's son he, I'm the ruler of time and space. Gong's son he was completely shocked when he saw the ruler of time and space suddenly appear in front of him. He didn't fear the other 8 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky at all, but he was afraid of the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky. Gong's son he knew very well that any one of the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky could easily kill him. Why had the ruler of time and space suddenly come looking for him? Lord Ruler, I don't know why you're looking for me. Please tell me. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Long Ming said indifferently, Gong's son he, from now on, you can no longer help Long Ao, especially when Bai Jing will act against Long Ao later. You can't do anything either. Otherwise, at this point, Long Ming did not continue, but the meaning in his words was very clear. Gong's son he was shocked. According to the agreement of the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky, they wouldn't casually intervene in the affairs of the Starry Sky. The 12 rulers of the Starry Sky basically didn't appear for so many years. In that case, why was the ruler of time and space stopping him from helping Long Ao? Did the ruler of time and space have a grudge against Long Ao? If that was the case, then things were really troublesome. Lord Ruler, I want to know why you're doing this. If it had been anyone else, they wouldn't have dared to ask such a question. However, Gong's son he was ultimately a half-step ruler of the Starry Sky. His strength was clear for all to see. Even the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky wouldn't act casually and fall out with a half-step ruler of the Starry Sky. Even if the power of the 9 great mystic realms wasn't as strong as the Primal Chaos Tablet, it was still very difficult for the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky to destroy the 9 great mystic realms. Otherwise, the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky wouldn't have allowed the 9 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky to live for so many years. Long Ming sneered and said, You don't have the right to know. Let me give you a piece of advice. If you want to devour the Primal Chaos Tablet, be obedient and I won't mistreat you in the future. If it had been anyone else, even if it were the other 8 half-step rulers of the Starry Sky, Gong's son he would have chosen to ignore them. But the 12 rulers of the Starry Sky were the only ones Gong's son he was wary of. It wasn't worth it to lose his life for a Longao and a primal chaos tablet. If he had already devoured the primal chaos tablet, then things would be different. Long Ming didn't urge him at all. He just watched coldly and waited for the other party's answer. Time passed by bit. After an unknown amount of time, Gongsun he sighed deeply and said, "I won't tell anyone about this." As if afraid that Long Ming wouldn't believe him, Gongsun he agreed and immediately swore a blood oath. A wise man submits to circumstances. "I won't forget you." Ha 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 ha. Long Ming's figure quickly left with a loud laugh. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Only Gongsun he was left in the hall. His face was filled with helplessness as he let out a deep sigh. Until now, he had not expected that the ruler of time and starry sky would interfere in this matter. If he was not mistaken, there must be some unspeakable secret between Longao and the ruler of time and starry sky. It was a bit unkind. He had chosen to ally with Longao, but now he had to give up because of the deterrence of the ruler of time and starry sky. However, Gongsun he had no choice. The ruler of time and starry sky was too strong. It was difficult to deal with such a powerful ruler of the starry sky with his own strength. "Longao, I'm really sorry." After thinking about it, Gongsun he finally chose to give up on Longao. If Longao could help him obtain the primal chaos tablet, then he could take the risk. But now, Longao probably didn't even have a 30% chance. If he still insisted on helping Longao, then it wasn't worth it. Chapter 24:20. In a short span of a few dozen days, Long Ming had already sent back news that the first cosmic empire and Beijing had been destroyed. Was this true? Longao didn't quite believe it. But a short while later, news of the first cosmic empire spread throughout the vast universe. Both Beijing and the first cosmic empire had been destroyed by a mysterious expert. Not a single one was left. The universe was shaken by the news. If it was really the first cosmic empire, then so be it. A half-step cosmic ruler could definitely destroy the first cosmic empire. But now, even Beijing had fallen. What had happened? Beijing was a half-step cosmic ruler, the strongest person under the 12 cosmic rulers. Apart from the 12 cosmic rulers, no one in the entire universe could kill Beijing. Even the other 8 half-step cosmic rulers couldn't do it. Who was it? Thinking about it, it seemed that only the 12 cosmic rulers could kill Beijing. Could it be that the person who killed Beijing was the legendary cosmic ruler? If so, then things were really troublesome. On a mid-level plane, Longao, I've done my job. According to our agreement, shouldn't you fulfill it now? Longao certainly didn't believe Long Ming's words. If Long Ming at his peak could destroy the first cosmic empire and Beijing, then he could believe it. But now, things were a little strange. In any case, Long Ming hadn't refined the Chaos Tablet and become a cosmic ruler. Even killing a peak cosmic immortal wouldn't be easy, let alone dealing with Beijing. In that case, it was still unknown whether the news from the vast universe was true or false. However, Longao didn't point it out. He just smiled and said, "Long Ming, I'll make a decision after I confirm whether the first cosmic empire and Beijing have fallen. What do you think?" "No problem, I'll wait for your good news." As soon as he finished speaking, Long Ming got up and left quickly. In a short while, he had disappeared without a trace. Longao's expression was grave, because he didn't know whether the first cosmic empire and Long Ming had been destroyed or not. Whether Long Ming's words were true or false. Whether it was true or not, Longao was ready to make a trip to the first cosmic empire to see for himself. First Starry Sky Empire. Today, the number 1 Starry Sky Empire was filled with a lifeless atmosphere. There was not a single person. Following the fall of the first Starry Sky Empire, No one dared to step into the first realm because no one knew what had happened. Longao's figure suddenly appeared. Standing outside the first plane, Longao confirmed again and again. As for whether or not there was an aura inside the first plane, he couldn't sense it for now. Due to the seal, there was no way for him to sense anything. If it hadn't been for the seal, Longao wouldn't have been so sure. However, he was now certain that the first plane in front of him contained the aura of countless people. In other words, the number 1 Starry Sky Empire was not destroyed, and Bai Jing was not dead. Long Ming was just fooling him. It was easy to guess the reason. If Long Ming had been at his peak, regardless of whether his promise was true or false, Long Ming would not have hesitated to take action. This was because Long Ming did not care about the life and death of Bai Jing and the number 1 Cosmic Empire at all, especially for the chaotic force within the Chaos Stone Tablet. Let alone destroying the number 1 Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing, Long Ming would have done the same even if he had to destroy the 9 Cosmic Empires. Only now, the situation was different. Long Ming had not truly refined the tablet and became a cosmic ruler. It was impossible for him to destroy the number 1 Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing. The only explanation that was Long Ming could not kill Bai Jing and destroy the number 1 Cosmic Empire. He was only relying on his deterrence to deter Bai Jing. Longao had already guessed that Long Ming had not only not taken action against Bai Jing, but had instead teamed up with Bai Jing to deal with him. Long Ming, Bai Jing, I'm already here. Show yourselves. What answered Longao was a fierce attack. In the next second, Bai Jing led 4 peak cosmic undying experts, the 3 space eagles and Bai Hua, and began to attack Longao frantically. There was no surprise. Longao had already guessed that Bai Jing had not fallen and was instead retreating. Let alone 1 against 4, even in a 1 against 1 situation, it would be hard for him to deal with 5 of them. There was no need to clash head-on. Longao turned and left. His speed was extremely fast. He did not know why, but the space around him had been completely sealed. He could definitely enter the Primal Chaos Palace. However, if that was the case, the Primal Chaos Palace would definitely be exposed. No matter what happened, Longao was not willing to reveal anything about the Primal Chaos Palace. You want to leave? Such a rare opportunity. How could Bai Jing and the rest give it up so easily? The 5 of them also flew to their limits and chased after Longao. The speed of both parties was extremely fast. Longao was very clear in his heart that if Bai Jing used the first secret realm, he would only have 2 choices. The first choice was to not be afraid of exposing the Primal Chaos Palace and forcefully enter the Primal Chaos Palace. The second choice was to borrow Gongsun He's strength to deter Bai Jing and the First Cosmic Empire. Longao would definitely choose Gongsun He. He had already formed an alliance with Gongsun He, so why not use Gongsun He's power? He was not stupid enough to take on the number 1 Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing alone. Longao and Bai Jing's speed was very fast. In just an hour, they had already crossed the distance from the first Starry Sky Empire to the third Starry Sky Empire. From the beginning to the end, Long Ming did not appear. However, Longao had already asserted that Long Ming and Bai Jing must have joined hands to kill him or trap him. At that time, both of them would be able to take advantage of the situation. Gongsun He. Longao's voice rumbled, but what was the result? Longao could not step into the third plane at all. As for the reason, he did not know at all. However, intuition told Longao that Gongsun He had deliberately sealed the third plane so that he could not step into it. Could it be that Gongsun He was also involved in this matter? In just an instant, Longao's face turned gloomy. Bai Jing was quickly catching up. If he continued to hesitate, he would definitely be in big trouble. Without any other choice, Longao could only quickly enter the Primal Chaos Palace and disappear without a trace. Gone? When Bai Jing and the others arrived, they could only see a small black seal. However, Long Ao's figure had already disappeared. Immediately after, Long Ming also appeared and forcefully sealed the small black seal in front of him. With a very surprised expression, he said, "Such a powerful starry sky divine tool seems to be similar to your secret realm." Secret realm? The small black seal was similar to a secret realm. Chapter 24-21. Bai Jing and the others were shocked to hear the ruler of time and starry skies words. Bai Jing, in particular, was even more shocked. Of course, Bai Jing knew what his secret realm meant. If that was the case, it was no wonder that Long Ao could use this starry sky artifact to avoid being locked on by him. However, the ruler of time and starry sky had locked on to Long Ao's black seal. This time, Long Ao would not be able to escape. But what was the result? The small black seal suddenly disappeared without a trace. What was going on? Bai Jing and the others were completely shocked by the sudden disappearance of the black seal. They all looked on in disbelief. "Lord Ruler, what's going on?" Bai Jing was very curious. He did not know how the black seal could disappear when the ruler of time and starry sky had locked onto it. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Was this true? Although Bai Jing was very confident in his secret realm, he was not sure if his secret realm could be locked on to by the ruler of starry sky. It was still unknown whether his secret realm could be locked on to by the ruler of starry sky. Long Ming was also very angry. He felt even more helpless. Long Ao's starry sky artifact should be similar to your secret realm. He was overjoyed. According to the ruler of time and starry sky, if he had a secret realm, wouldn't he be able to ignore the ruler of starry sky? However, Bai Jing still did not dare to act recklessly. He knew very well what the ruler of starry sky's strength meant. If he was unlucky and was killed by the ruler of starry sky, he would not even have the chance to regret it. "Lord Ruler, what should we do now? Long Ao has this starry sky divine tool. According to my guess, if there is no accident, this starry sky divine tool can only hide, but it cannot move." Cannot move? What did that mean? After thinking about it, Bai Jing instantly understood what it meant. In other words, Long Ao was still here. As long as he and the others locked on to this place, Long Ao would not be able to leave. On the plain, Gongsun Ao's face was very solemn as he said, "Old ancestor, Long Ao is in big trouble outside. Should we lend a hand?" Gongsun Ao was very curious, wondering what was going on with the old ancestor. Previously, he had even made an agreement with Long Ao. As long as the old ancestor helped Long Ao resist the First Cosmic Empire, then Long Ao would believe that the old ancestor was looking for the Primal Chaos Tablet. Why did the old ancestor suddenly wash his hands of the matter? Could there be something fishy about this? Even now, Gongsun Ao still didn't know about the ruler of time and starry sky. If he did, he wouldn't have reacted this way. However, Gongsun he had sworn a blood oath not to mention anything about the ruler of time and starry sky. He knew very well what the ruler of time and starry sky meant. Once provoked, the consequences would be unimaginable. For Long Ao, was it worth it? For a primal chaos stone tablet that he had no confidence in, was it worth it? Without a doubt, it was definitely not worth it. From now on, we are no longer friends with Long Ao. If he dares to come looking for trouble, kill him without mercy. Gongsun he wasn't sure if Long Ao would come, because even a fool would know that this matter had something to do with him. But whether or not Long Ao was able to avoid this calamity was still unknown. If the old ancestor didn't want to say, then what had happened? The more the old ancestor didn't want to say, the more curious Gongsun Ao became. However, Gongsun Ao knew the old ancestor's temper. If the old ancestor wanted to say something, he didn't need to ask. He believed that the old ancestor would tell him. If the old ancestor didn't want to say, then sorry, but no matter how much he asked, the old ancestor wouldn't say half a word. Since that was the case, why should he ask for trouble? Old ancestor, what should we do now? Longao, Bai Jing, and the others were still outside. No one knew what would happen. The most important thing was whether this matter would implicate the Third Starry Sky Empire. No one knew. How could Gongsun he not know what Gongsun Ao was thinking? After thinking about it, Gongsun he said, no matter what happens outside, we shouldn't ask about it. Should we meddle? Was the old ancestor really afraid of the First Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing? It seemed a bit ridiculous. Whether it was in the past or now, the old ancestor had never been afraid of Bai Jing and the First Cosmic Empire. He certainly wouldn't believe that this was true. As for the reason, if the old ancestor didn't say it, only a ghost would know. Gongsun Ao didn't dare to ask more and directly ordered that no one from the Third Cosmic Empire should leave the Third Cosmic Empire without permission. Anyone who disobeyed would be killed without mercy. Although the Third Cosmic Empire had been sealed, the outside world was very clear. Longao was besieged by the First Cosmic Empire and Bai Jing, but the old ancestor didn't do anything. No one knew why, but everyone was very curious about the old ancestor's intentions. No one dared to disobey the old ancestor's order, and no one dared to leave the Third Cosmic Empire. The news quickly spread, and everyone who received the news was shocked. No one knew why the Third Cosmic Empire and Longao would suddenly turn against each other. Under normal circumstances, Longao would have been chased to the Third Cosmic Empire's doorstep. Gongsun he would definitely help. Otherwise, the two wouldn't have formed an alliance. But what was the result? Not only did Gongsun he not help Longao, but he also directly sealed the Third Cosmic Empire, directly blocking Longao from entering the Third Cosmic Empire. Everyone was talking about it, and no one knew what had happened between the two. However, the only thing that was certain was that, after this incident, the alliance between Longao and Gongsun he would definitely be completely broken. Whether or not the two of them would turn against each other in the future, or even fight, was still a mystery. Longao was already a celebrity in the vast starry sky, because a person who could shake the 9 great cosmic empires was indeed a miracle. Because of this, everyone was very concerned about the movements of Longao and the First Cosmic Empire. They wanted to see if Longao could successfully escape this disaster. Outside the third plane, of course, Longming wouldn't show up casually, but he had already discussed with Bai Jing. Since things had already happened, they had to lock onto Longao no matter what and kill Longao. Longming didn't know what was going on in his heart. Not only was he not grateful, but he also wanted to kill Longao. Sometimes, even Longming didn't know what was going on. Maybe he didn't want others to know about his identity and things. As long as he could kill Longao and the others, no one would know about it. Lord Ruler, we can't go on like this. We can't lock onto this place forever. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.